Donald Trump Jr. and I speak to each other. When I met Donald Trump Jr., he said, if you're around on these dates, I might be free for half an hour. And I was in Romania. And I flew there, and I've spent X amount of thousands of dollars, and it paid off. And I'm very close to the Trump family. I know them well, and I spoke to Barron after the incident, and I look forward to, once I am free, being Donald Trump in person and reminding him that he's a bulletproof badass.
Is President Trump or the administration, do they have any plans to intervene in the extradition process for the Tate brothers?
No.
Hey guys, let me know in the chat if you can hear me and there's no issues. But let's get started. I'm looking forward to interacting, answering some questions. So drop whatever questions you want me to ask in the chat, and I'll try my best to get to them. I'll get to the super chat ones though as they come in the best I can. But I've also got someone who's going to be joining me. I'll bring them up in a second. And she's actually part of the Andrew Tate lawsuit as well. She's another one of the defendants. And she's actually a victim of one of Andrew Tate's war room members. So she can maybe talk a little bit about that. We can cover that. But otherwise, I'm looking forward to talking about all things fallout since Andrew Tate's arrest last week. I don't know about you. The Tate fanboys always it's the same as Candace Owens. They always say that you're obsessed when you continually cover what's going on with them. I'm actually not. I usually just leave my work in the office, and as soon as I'm finished with it during the day, then I just hang out with my wife and my kids. We have a great time, and I'm lucky in that my wife, although she's very supportive, she actually doesn't care at all really about Andrew Tate or Candace Owens or the people that I cover. She's interested in what I do for work, but herself, I mean, we really don't talk about this stuff that much. But I have to say that since Andrew Tate's been arrested, it's just nice, just throughout the day, just to stop and think that Andrew and Tristan Tate are in federal custody. And I don't know, that does bring me a bit of happiness. So I've got a bunch of stuff that we can pull up. I want to cover what's going on with them legally, how things look. But I also want to cover Andrew Tate, who, despite being in prison, seems to be posting more than ever, and despite him saying that he has no contact with the outside world. So let's pull up some of that stuff. Let's also pull up some of the network of propagandists that he has, and how they've been attempted to run cover. It's good to see people. I think because this is happening in America, it's much harder for them to get away with this. So now a lot of their bullshit is much more plain to see. So when they're talking about their prison conditions and claiming to be being tormented, I think people see them as the crybabies, and also, I believe as the liars that they are. Whereas in Romania, they could get away with so much more when they claimed that they were, in cockroach infested dungeons. So we can touch onto a bit of that. We can also touch onto some of their propagandists and how they've been pushing propaganda for them over the years. And then if we've got some time, maybe we can touch on a little bit of Candace Owens and Tucker and what's been going on with them past week. But feel free to drop questions, and I'll answer them along the way. This is my second time doing the stream, so it might be a little clunky. Might be a little bit of issues. So just bear with me as I try and figure this out. let's see. There's one person here who says, was there anyone you were surprised / disappointed to see defending Tate? That's a good question, and the answer is no. I think to draw a parallel with Candace Owens, I think where we're at with Candace Owens is very similar to Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate even more so. With Candace Owens at this point in time, I really do think the people who are defending her, it speaks loudly to their moral character and the kinds of people they are, that they're still defending her and her behavior at this point in time. And that I think is probably 1,000 times more true with Andrew Tate. There really is no point in attempting to try and convince people who are defending Andrew Tate at this point in time, especially not people in the comments section. Because most of the time, these people are not coming from good faith. They're absolutely coming from bad faith. And there's no possible way that you can even reach them. I'll drop the compilations with Andrew Tate and his history of his remarks to do with minors, or Tristan Tate, him talking about his favorite pastime, which is seemingly manipulating virgins into having sex with him, and the people who rush to defend that by saying, "Oh, this looks bad, but it's not illegal." Most of the time, a lot of times they're actually bots. I think that's true, and then a lot of the time these are people who are in the Tate cult, and there's no way that you can possibly reach them. So no, I haven't been surprised by who's been defending them. I've even got a couple of videos from Patrick Bet-David, because I think that that panel is probably the last remaining of the ones on the right that have a pretty significant audience. I really think everyone else by this point in time, they're all pretty fringe, really, and I don't think they're really accepted in the mainstream conservative movement. And Patrick Bet-David and Adam and Vince and all those other lackeys. I really do think that they've just got too close to Andrew Tate. I think they're really good mates with him, really, and so I think that's the thing of just even if they were to get a guilty verdict in the UK, the Tate brothers, and even if there was just the overwhelming evidence, which a lot of it the public still hasn't seen, and a lot of it's like horrible stuff, I believe. So even if all of that was to come out and for them to get a guilty verdict, I still think the Patrick Bet-David and the people that are close to the Tates would not be able to acknowledge the reality of who these people are that they've even introduced to their family and welcomed into their house and got close to. So there is a massive level of just being in denial, I think, with those people. There's other people who are absolutely invested. I think there's a lot of dodgy things going on. Anyone who's covered the Tate brothers for a while has recognized that there absolutely is this network of influencers that run cover for them, and they're just straight up propagandists. Maybe we can launch into that first with Mario Naufel. And it's great to see Community Notes doing its thing. There's a lot of times Community Notes can be weaponized, but a lot of times it does a good job. And I think on balance, it's overall more of a net positive than a net negative. And I think we've seen that with the Andrew Tate with the coverage. From everyone, including his lawyer to Andrew Tate himself, to these network of influencers that push propaganda. All of these people have just been getting community note after community note, and this is where it's so absurd at this point in time for people to defending this stuff, because it's not even based in reality. So I mean, we can touch base a little bit on that. What have we got here? Tyler G8M8R asks, do you think Candace's viewership is actually real? the consistency of viewership just seems questionable considering how variable viewership is for most channels. Candace Owens has a massive audience. Like, I mean, it's huge. And people do posts saying, look, she's only got like 250,000 live viewers or something, which is, you know, like a lot smaller than what it was at the height after Charlie Kirk died. And she was still seen as someone credible who had close relationships. Like, thank goodness that we're past that point in time now. But I think when people are saying, look, Candace Owens only has like 200,000 live viewers or 100,000 live viewers or even 50,000 live viewers, I think that's doing a disservice. Those are still massive numbers for live viewers. She still gets huge numbers for her videos. I definitely think there's bots going on there. But I think when people immediately say, oh, she's got a audience that's botted, same with Nick Fuentes. Yes, that is an element, but yeah, I don't think you can disregard how influential and how big her audience is. And you know, when it comes to Candace Owens in particular, that is the thing that is the most disturbing. Candace Owens is not, you know, Candace Owens as a figure is not someone anyone should take seriously. You know, the things she says are absolutely horrendous. What she's done to Charlie Kirk's loved ones has been terrible. But you know, she is a joke of a human. So in many ways, she should be mocked. You know, but at the same time, you know, what you can't laugh at is how big her audience is, and how just crazy loyal they are. That's the thing that's truly disturbing, and that's the thing that I think is in particular very dangerous. You know, it was absolutely horrible to see a lot of TPUSA people after Charlie Kirk died in the months following. You know, they would come out and they were even saying, TPUSA people, they were saying that Candace Owens, like cult following, that it's worse than Antifa. And even some were saying that, I mean, this is horrible to hear some of them say that the worst part of Charlie Kirk dying has been the campaign of harassment that's followed. That's terrible. And you know, Jeremy Boring was saying about Candace Owens and the defamation with Erica Kirk. It's like, can you think of a worst case of defamation in American history? You know, the only thing that comes to mind is Alex Jones with the Sandy Hook victims' parents, but it's absolutely horrible. So yeah, anyway, so that's a long way of answering. Yeah, I think Candace Owens has bots, but I also think that her audience is significant enough that it needs to be taken seriously. What else have we got? Inga Richards on author. I'm sure I'm butchering that. I apologize. Men buying supercars off profits from other men's porn addictions, then boasting of business skills. Slavery is a skill now. Yeah, this is something that I think tends to be forgotten, in that Andrew Tate is seen as this, you know, king of toxic masculinity and the poster boy for misogyny. But people tend to forget about the negative influence and how I believe he's preyed on men as well. And yeah, I mean, that's starting with the webcamming and the pornography business. You know, there's the famous clips that always go around from the Nelk Boys with his appearance there, where he's just bragging and laughing his ass off at how he was able to, I mean, just pretty much con men into spending more and more money on the webcam girls. And he talks about that, you know, he take millions off vulnerable men, you know, even convincing them that the women, again, this is always important to point out. Andrew Tate, you know, he's admitted to this. He was the one typing to the men. So there was the girls that were on webcam, naked, dancing, you know, doing pornography for the men. But he was the one who was actually typing on on the keyboards, getting off the men sexually. So that, you know, this is the alpha male who literally built an empire off making men get off sexually by literally dirty talking to them, figuring out what they were into while these guys were jerking off. He was the one who was actually typing dirty talking to these guys. You know, so you know, so there's that, and then expanding on from that, he has his War Room Hustles University up until the Real World, which I believe is like a pyramid scheme that is literally marketed to boys as young as 12 years old to get them onto this platform where he says that you know, they're going to be able to be taught all these skills to be able to become graphic designers and all sorts of things to be able to become millionaires. And you know, to me, it really looks like it's just a pyramid scheme that's entirely just built for Andrew Tate to profit off them. You know, this is like $99 a month US to subscribe to this. And you know, so this is where, you know, this is where it's similar with Candace Owens, where the audience, it's called a cult. And I think that's absolutely true. There's this top-down element to it. But I mean, you know, if you think Candace Owens is a cult, I mean, look at Andrew Tate and how he's managed to monetize following off these young men and make just millions and millions off them. And this is tying it back to what I was saying earlier about who's defending the Tate brothers. At this point in time, the narratives that his lawyer and his team are selling are so absurd and so out there, like completely just unbelievable when you hear about them. I'll play some of them. You know, this idea that he's been offered $50 million and they want him to sign a plea deal. It's just like anyone with a brain. You don't even need to be familiar with Andrew Tate and his cases to know that it's absolutely just ridiculous. But they're not appealing to ordinary people. I think even they are aware that they completely just lost control of the narrative, and you know, really at this point in time, they're just attempting to maintain control of their, I believe, cult-like followers, and a lot of them are young boys. You know, so yeah, they buy into this matrix rubbish that a lot of us just kind of laugh at. So that's where it's engineered for them. Because if Andrew Tate loses them, then he has no one. Even at this point in time, you know, yeah, he definitely has money. And you know, where that money is coming from, whether he has backers or whatnot, you know, I'm not sure. But you know, he's still getting money from real world subscribers, from these young boys. So that's when you see this just completely laughable narratives that are being pushed out about Andrew Tate being innocent. You know, it's not for the regular person. It's for those like young boys, those 12-year-olds who are buying like top G comic books and all of that stuff. So yeah, so again, that's the thing. It's, yes, absolutely. I believe that he has been a predator and has done absolute damage to not only to women directly, but also indirectly through his influence with other men and just what he's been putting out into the world. But I also believe that he's in the same way been preying on men, and absolutely a negative influence on men. I'm going to get to a couple of super chats, but just on this, you know, I will post just the most vile videos. I'll post videos of Tristan Tate where he's bragging that it doesn't matter how good you are as a father, that he'll be able to pimp out your daughters. Because if you're an amazing father, if you're an incredible father, incredibly close to your daughters, but if you don't have a lot of money, if you're someone who's you know, a tradie, a laborer, that your daughter is going to want to get a Louis Vuitton bag. That's how much of a brokey I am. They're going to want, you know, the purse. They want all this stuff, and they're going to get it however they can, and that's how Tristan Tate comes into the picture. He'll prey on these women and sexually exploit them. So he'll be saying something like that that's absolutely vile, and then I'll be getting a comment underneath from one of their followers saying, yeah, but the Tate brothers really got me through a divorce, and they've been such a positive influence on my life, and they've, I've hit the gym, and I bounced back from really dark times. And it's this thing of, okay, all that may be true, but yet you're here in the comments section defending this absolutely just vile stuff that they're saying, and that I believe that they've done. So it's not like they're getting nothing in return. This isn't selfless. This is, I believe, that they've actually managed to program you to believe that this is true, that they've had a positive influence on your life. And now, knee-jerk reaction, you're defending them, and you're defending them against just atrocious things. Yeah, let me get to a couple of super chats, and then I want to bring up Just Me, and let's go through all the cope and everything that's been going on the past week with the Tate, the fallout since their arrest. I've got Tyler G8M8R, very generously contributed and said, keep up the good work, Nathan. Thank you very much. That's very generous. I absolutely appreciate it. Then we got Mandy, F5U4J. I think that Tucker Carlson facilitated the passport being given back through a connection in the Trump administration, and I think it was George Farmer that went to Tucker Carlson. There's been some good reporting on the Trump administration's involvement with pulling strings when it came to their prosecution in Romania. So it's important to remember they're still being prosecuted in Romania. No charges have been dropped. No cases have been dropped. It's so complicated to try and explain, unpack what's going on in Romania. Even I, at this point in time, trying to keep tabs of where the cases are at. Even I, like in many ways, I've just, I refer to Murder by Crayons and other people. Mitcha, I always forget his last name. I'm so sorry. I'll pull it up. Mitcha Baru, I think it is. That's close. He's been doing amazing work in Romania. It's so complicated. But the thing that you need to know when you hear Andrew Tate and his team talking is that those charges are still ongoing. Prosecution is still ongoing. But basically, they weren't allowed to leave Romania since they were arrested in December 2022. And then, a significant amount of that time, they were under house arrest. Then the judicial controls, which if you think of it like bail, was being lifted where they weren't seen as a threat to, at large the population in Romania, which again, it was completely common with the nature of what they were charged with compared to other cases there. But they were allowed to travel around Romania at one point in time. But yeah, it had been years since they were allowed to leave Romania. And then after Trump was elected, it then by March 2025, there was reports about Richard Grenell, someone in the Trump administration, and that there was some pressure being put on Romania they were just maybe just playing around with what was going on with the prosecution there. And then by March 2025, all of a sudden they were allowed to leave Romania and they were traveling to America. And then, reports have come out since then about figures in the Trump administration who were, I don't think it was the Trump administration at large. Even when Trump was asked in March 2025, they were on a plane coming and Trump was asked about this. And he seemed like he had absolutely no clue what was going on. I don't think he even knew who Andrew Tate was. But there were some rogue figures. Paul Ingrassia is one of them. I believe he was kicked out of he's out of the Trump administration now. But there's some good reporting that's been done. New York Times did some good work on that. New York Post, The New York Post, sorry, not the New York Post, the who am I thinking? The New Yorker. The New Yorker did a really great article recently that is the best I've seen of a kind of comprehensive look at the Andrew Tate's case, their background, everything up to now. So yeah, there was figures within the Trump administration that were part of the Tate team, and it seemed like they managed to pull some influence to get judicial controls lifted. I don't believe Tucker Carlson has that kind of influence. Tucker Carlson, even, he did the interview with Andrew Tate in July 2023. And I actually want to do, I'll do a stream soon where I really want to dig into Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and their role with pushing propaganda with the Tate brothers in 2023, shortly after they were indicted. Tucker Carlson, it's hard to know how close he is to the Tates. He actually had Andrew Tate on his Fox show. I think it was once, maybe even twice. I think it was once before he was raided, once after he was raided, and then he did the interview after he was fired from Fox. But since then, he spoke about the interview immediately following with Charlie Kirk. I think it was August 2023, and he was saying that Andrew Tate is very smart and he has a very cohesive idea of the world, and there's very little that Tucker Carlson disagrees with Andrew Tate's views. Again, it's this thing of like, if you watch the interviews with Tucker Carlson and Tate, you'd have no clue that Andrew Tate had just been indicted for sex trafficking, rape, and organized crime. And I still question whether Tucker Carlson actually had any clue about this. It's this question of did he know Tate's charges and, I believe, allow him to lie, or was he just a useful idiot and completely clueless? I'm not sure. But since then, Tucker Carlson actually hasn't been running defense for the Tate brothers all that much. And he even published DMs with a New York Times journalist, where the New York Times journalist pushed him on that interview, pointing out that Andrew Tate had mischaracterized the charges to Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson in the DMs said, if I got that wrong in that interview, in the coverage, then I apologize. Now, that's not him saying I did get that wrong. That's not even him making a public statement apologizing. But it is him acknowledging, oh, maybe I did get that wrong. So, yeah, I'm not sure about how close Tucker Carlson is with the Tate camp. But I mean, Tucker is definitely close with Candace, who's close with the Tates. Or at least she was. She said absolutely nothing since the Tate brothers' arrest last Sunday, which is really, really, really bizarre. I've covered Candace Owens and her ongoing defense and her pushing just the most horrendous propaganda, including just harassing viciously one of the alleged victims and defending a convicted child molester in the process of doing that. The fact that she said nothing about the Tate's arrest is very, very, very strange. All right, I'm going to bring up Just Me, and let's look at some things that have been going on over the past week. But yeah, keep putting questions, and I'll keep my eye out and answer them as I go along. But I'll bring up Just Me to the stage now. All right, Just Me. Can you hear me?
Yep, I sure can. Can you hear me?
I can. Now, I should also, sorry, I'm so bad at this. I should remind everyone, I think everyone's probably aware, but I should remind everyone that I and Just Me are being sued by Andrew Tate for defamation. So let me pull up here we go. Pull up the fundraiser here. All right. So here it is here. So that is at givesendgo.com/free speech versus Tate. And so you can go there, you can do lawsuits there, you can go to read more, and we actually have the first lawsuit here. As it says, it was dismissed. So they sued us. They launched the lawsuit. It was May last year, and then it was dragged out. It's very, very long, slow process, and then we finally got our hearing in December last year, and within 10 minutes, it was dismissed. And so they are suing us for defamation, alleging that we're part of a conspiracy to defame them. If you're familiar with my work, 90% of it is me just showing people's own words. So I effectively, Andrew Tate sued me for defamation for showing videos of him. So in some ways, indirectly, he was suing himself for defamation. So you can go there to read the initial lawsuit. You can also donate there. So we've got our target at $70,000. So we're roughly about 8,000 away from that, and that's to get us up to date with our legal bills at this point in time. So even from then, we're going to actually have to up that target. But update for that is we do actually have a hearing. So we have a hearing September 18th, and so that's new. I'm going to do an updated video for that I'll post, and so that means that so this initial lawsuit was that was dropped. It wasn't dropped. It was ruled that it was dismissed without prejudice in December, which then allowed them to then appeal and then also to amend the lawsuit. And so they've done both. And so we're now fighting both. So they effectively, it's like they launched another lawsuit. So we had to do all of it all over again. But we have now got a date for our hearing. So that's September 18th. And so that's the hearing that involves me and Gadget as well, who's also called Nathan. There's two Australian Nathans that are being sued for defamation by Andrew Tate in Florida. And then there's also a hearing on August the 28th. So they're suing the platform X, and they're attempting to get information on people who are anonymous that are part of the lawsuit. Again, sorry if this is confusing. Feel free to ask any questions if you do want to know any more specifics about this lawsuit. But just me, I don't know if you want to cover this your side of things, or talk about the hearing. But feel free. Give a brief introduction to who you are and how you're involved with all of this. Oh, did I lose you? Hold on. Are you still there? All right. Yeah, go ahead, Jasmine.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm here.
All good. Yeah, if you want to just maybe give an introduction to you and how you've got involved with all of this and where things are at for you on your end.
Sure thing. So as of next month, I'm now 7 years into this. My story begins back in August of 2019 when I listed an antique typewriter on a sales app on my phone, and I allowed a guy to come to my house to pick it up, and he spent maybe about an hour on my property. I have a little shop, and was walking around and talking and asking me a bunch of questions and whatnot, and I gave him one of my business cards and he left. Like you said, Nathan, we could do a whole space on me. So to kind of sum things up, from there, I went through 2 years of hell. I didn't even realize when he met me and started engaging me to go out with him and interact with him that there were actually 2 other women in the background. To say that lies fell out of his mouth like honey would be an understatement. It was incredulous looking back at the things that he said, the web of lies that he spun, and how simple and easily he did it. After the initial period, things got pretty bad for me. By the end, I ended up with someone who had literally moved themselves into my home against my will, and then refused to leave. At that point, I was mentally and physically at my limits. Basically, I was losing my mind from the narcissistic abuse I'd been subjected to for almost 2 years, not to mention the pressure to do the porn, the other things I won't even speak about right now in the way of criminal type stuff. Um, but it was a fight from hell to get him out of my house. I literally had to send my son away at that time as well. I've got lots of evidence and recordings of everything from my dog being threatened to be shot, my house would be taken from me, my neighbor would be harmed, that he in the war room would put child pornography on one of my business associates' computers. He was jealous of them. It was a father and son business that rented from us. It's just unending. Uh, I didn't actually come forward about anything until early in 2023, right after Tate's arrest, um, when I realized, that this was probably deeper than I had known. And also for the sake of validating the other victims who obviously were put through even worse than me. But it's been quite the journey of trying to fight for the truth, make people understand what's really going on, deal with the trolls and the subhumans that seem to worship this man and their foul, filthy mouths that they tell their mothers they love them with. And then, of course, now we have the lawsuits. So I'm still in here fighting. I'm still fighting for all the other women who've been fighting for over a decade, some of them. And I plan on continuing that fight. I guess they take my house, they take my house. I suppose that might be a consequence for me. I'd like to hope that it's not, but only time will tell. And I'm forever thankful that he's been taken off the streets. I fear that his influence was left to go for way too long and will create just a domino effect of problems that will take forever to get back on top of. But I have faith and I have hope that some judicial system is going to ask him to be accountable. He says he wants to prove his innocence, but all I see is him trying to evade doing just that. So I would challenge him to man up, be a man of his word like he likes to espouse he is, and don't fight the extradition and get back there and prove to all your fans exactly how innocent you are. Because otherwise, in my eyes, you are nothing but a coward and a grifter and somebody who's just good at being advantageous about monetizing people's insecurities and vices, because that's all you do, Andrew. You monetize people where they're down and out. It doesn't make you an alpha. It doesn't even make you a good man. It makes you a predator. And I hope that you and your brother are held accountable for everything you've done. And I definitely hope that several of the men who are associated with you uh, see the same fate. Let's talk about the pilot who was in the BBC, who had victims come forward. There's people everywhere coming forward. And I hope that any women who hear this, who were affected by any of this, that they find strength to come forward and tell their stories too, because the last thing I want to see is a repeat of another Epstein. The good news is it's all public this time. The people who support them, they're willing to put it out there. Well, that's good, because we're going to remind you of that after the convictions. You can't hide. These aren't secret emails that DOJ files have to be subpoenaed to see. You're out there and we know who you are. So I hope everybody buckles up and enjoys the ride.
Yeah, this is the thing. Those videos that people that I post and that do the rounds of Andrew Tate, seemingly confessing to human trafficking and talking about the techniques that he deployed on women, allegedly. Again, both of us are being sued by Andrew Tate, so we need to be careful with how we word things. But these videos that you see of Andrew Tate, which are incredibly incriminating, and that's no matter what Andrew Tate or his supporters say, they are being used as evidence. They have been used as evidence, so they are part of the Romanian prosecution. They were even used in the UK with the tax. He was found guilty of money laundering, and they used videos of him self-snitching to that, where he taught a course where he pretty much said, "Don't pay tax." So these videos that have been available, people need to remember that these are from courses that he taught. So it's not just that Andrew Tate directly, allegedly, were doing these horrible things to women, but it's also that he taught courses for other men to be able to learn and then emulate and deploy the same techniques against women all around the world. And that's what the war room was. It was a way for these men to be able to meet, compare notes, to brag, to be able to give advice to, I believe, to pretty much form this massive network of human trafficking, of trafficking women into sexual exploitation. And the war room chats is also part of evidence against Andrew Tate. So people need to keep that in mind. So Just Me here is a victim of one of these men who consumed this and then deployed these same techniques. This documentary here that I've got on the screen, Andrew Tate, the Man Who Groomed the World, this is covering this, really. There's been so much about Andrew Tate, and thankfully more and more about Andrew Tate and the actual realities of his alleged sex trafficking. But there needs to be more coverage about his influence on men and how they also deployed these same alleged sex trafficking techniques. If anyone is interested to know more about that, then I really encourage you to watch this documentary. Is there anything else you want to cover on that, Just Me? Like we said, it'd be great to do an entire
right.
stream.
I would say that, mine was actually even somewhat of a serial offender at all of this. And there was a woman I was overlapped with where what happened to her was so bad, she literally was able to get a conviction for it. So this isn't funny. It's not fun and games. These men, threaten you. They threaten your family. They threaten your children. They threaten everything that's near and dear to you in order to elicit either behavior or favors they want you to do that could put you legally at harm. It's maniacal. I don't even know any other way to describe it. I'm never going to be the same. I'm not the person I was. It busted a ton of my relationships. It destroyed my family. I accidentally killed a dog in the middle of all this because the abuse was so bad. I mixed up my dog's medications. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you the depths of the harm that I went through during all of this, and to learn in the aftermath that it just wasn't some disjointed dude. It was somebody who was being deliberate and maniacal and methodical with everything they were doing to me. And then they were doing it based on the advice they were getting from other men and some fine tuned, honed narcissistic abuse program where they group chatted what was the best way to get around anything that you might put up in defense. That's horrible. If they aren't all held accountable for that alone, I wasn't just abused by one man. I feel like I was violated by 100. I don't even know any other way to describe it. It's horrific.
People asking, I can see where and when did this happen? So you don't need to be too specific about where, but
No,
but
I'm in the US, and this started for me in August of 2019, and I freed myself getting him out of my home around February of 2020. When was they arrested? December 22, so it would have been February of 22. 2.5 years.
When did you start? When did you start posting about the Tates?
Not until 23.
What's your because you had this like horrific experience with one of Tate's followers. So what was that then like? So this is going back 2019, so it's 3
Yeah.
years before he was arrested. So what was it then like to see Andrew Tate get arrested, and then how did you begin to start covering it and
So
posting about it?
what you need to know is when I met this guy, one of the first things that he was asking me about was, oh, well, what's your Instagram and this and that? And that's when I admitted I had no social media, which at the time I didn't think anything of it, but that put a target on my back. I didn't come to Twitter until late 2021. He came to stay at my house in late September. He was evicted from his apartment. This is an open court record, I might as well tell you. He got evicted for not paying his rent. It was deliberate. But he was only supposed to stay for a few days or a week, and he ended up like not leaving my home. So it was February of 22 before I was able to get him out. But I started going online in December of 21 because so many things were wrong with me. I couldn't understand what was going on. And that's when I first came to understand what the War Room and what Andrew Tate was. So the whole time I was going through all of this, I didn't know about this whole god awful side of the world. I didn't do social media, but I sat here and I started learning, and then I realized, oh my God, what's going on with me? Okay, the first thing I have to address is I think I'm suffering from some narcissistic abuse. So then I started reading books. Then I started clearing my head. Then I started watching what was going on. Once I got him out of my life, I'm going to be honest with you, the books told me I had to step away from this or I would never get above it. Now, mind you, at that time, guys, I'm like the rest of the world. We don't know what sex trafficking is. We are stupid. We all need to learn much better what it means, what it is, how it operates. I mistook this for just greedy, nasty people being greedy, nasty people. I didn't see it for what it was until I still kept kind of watching it a little bit, but started watching more so when he got arrested. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I just basically dodged a bullet. I don't know any other way to describe it. My ignorance was off the hook until I started educating myself more so, and then taking it, a step further and a step further and trying to heal and mend myself. I was in a really dark place, guys, when this ended. It got really, really bad for me. I had sent my son away. I mean, it was dark. I hid in that darkness probably for a little bit longer than I should have, but I just praise God that I did make it out.
Yeah, and so you started posting about Andrew Tate, and I mean, how many followers do you have?
So right now I have like 60 and some change. When they filed the lawsuit, I'll be honest, I had probably almost 400 and something, and then overnight I got botted and spammed so bad I went up to like 800, and so I nuked everybody except for the people that I really knew and had been talking with and were giving me good valid information, like you, Gadget, Crayons. So yeah, I got like 60 followers. I ain't out here changing nobody's opinion.
That's the crazy thing. It's that you know there have been large accounts who have been exposing Andrew Tate, and there's been, I mean, much larger accounts than me, and certainly certainly you, and yet it's very interesting who Andrew Tate decided to sue, because there's a lot of people that have been saying things that are let's just say they don't say allegedly. They'll straight up say that Andrew Tate is, a sex trafficker and worse, and they won't get sued.
No, he's doing what he's doing methodically. I know why I'm on the lawsuit, but yeah, you guys
yeah,
are on there because he's afraid to sue anybody with any kind of clout.
Yeah, well, this is the interesting thing about interesting thing about our lawsuit, is that Andrew Tate will use anything he can to his advantage, and will spin it any way he can. He's been very, very quiet about this lawsuit against us. He'll throw it in every now and again when he's talking about the other defamation lawsuits, but otherwise he's barely acknowledged it whatsoever. And I think that's because he's aware that it actually makes him look weak. This idea that he somehow needs to attempt to sue into silence accounts that are, like with your case,
Dog and pony
very, very
show.
small.
It's a dog and pony show. It's being used to try to make other people be quiet too. It's a dog and pony show.
And that is true. We have, first of all, we're absolutely grateful for how much support we've received. It's been incredible. And I've been so appreciative of people who've had me on to their streams and to their shows. But there are content creators that have used my work and Crayon's work and Gadget's work over the years, but they're scared to touch Andrew Tate, partly because of our lawsuit, because now they've seen that Andrew Tate can be litigious, and they just don't want to have to go through that hassle. So that is absolutely one of the effects. Actually, let me pull up now. This is a good way to kind of get into some of the coverage over the last week. I want to pull up here and send through anything, just me, that you think would be good to highlight, and anyone in the comments as well. If there's anything that you think is worth covering, feel free to send it through. But this is a good one here. All right, so this is how things started. All right, so you got here, this is the Real World University. So as you can see, this is blatantly Andrew Tate connected, the Real World, which is his. It's his university that he's got. And so this is from July 2023. So this started, just a couple of days after their arrest. And so you can see this is one of their lines that they're pushing out to try and, make it appear that Andrew Tate is a victim of, the Matrix, whatever you want to call it. And so here it is. It's Andrew Tate's ex-girlfriend, who he supposedly abused, has come out to defend him. It was nothing but a sex play. It was consensual foreplay that we liked doing, that I was into, that I wanted. Okay. Now, I think people are aware of this video of him beating this girl with a belt. And I think people are probably aware at this point in time that, even Andrew Tate himself is on record saying that he was with her when she was a minor. But this is the thing, right? So they're immediately, what they try to do is to try and trot out these women to say that they're saying that we're victims, but I'm not a victim. I don't think he's a victim at all, and that he's being punished, and that he's a victim of the Matrix. But this is the thing, as they even used my post for the community note. So first of all, let's just cover this video of her. Let me pull it up, because as they've said, they're claiming that this is just in. Now, here's a post that I did March last year. So this was a post I did where I posted about that video when they were in America to remind people that at this point in time, there was actually, actually quite a few things that you could point to indicate that this girl was a minor when he was with her and creating these videos of him beating her. Now they're claiming, right? She's just in. She's come out to defend him. Okay, here's the video that I posted, well, that Andrew Tate posted, right, in defense of me posting about that original video. And as you can see, it's exactly the same video that they're claiming is Justin. Now, this video, they posted this last March, and this is a compilation of all the times this woman has defended him going back through the years. And they've got a lot of examples because, as it's been established by Andrew Tate himself, she's been with him since she was 15. So she's come out quite a few times over the years to say that she's not a victim. But again, she was a minor when she was with him, even according to Andrew Tate. Now, important to also point out that after the Tate brothers were arrested, they were caught on making phone calls in Romania. Again, this is what these geniuses did. Andrew Tate was calling up and he was instructing his people to trot out women like this to put out these messages. And so he was caught doing this. And so Andrew Tate has subsequently been charged in Romania with influencing statements. So that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing the exact same playbook that they ran way back in Romania after they were arrested. And again, they're trying to claim that, oh, this is just in. But in fact, it's not. And in fact, even with this woman defending him, it was on record, even with him saying that he was with her as a minor. The thing that is even more interesting is that this is, it was the year before this in 2024, he was in fact criminally charged in Romania with allegedly trafficking her as a minor. So that was proved by the Romanian authorities, and even her father gave a statement to the Romanian authorities where he confirmed her date of birth. So there is overwhelming evidence that she was a minor when she was with Andrew Tate. But yeah, so this is what you've been seeing the past week. You've been seeing them try and pretend like, oh, there's all these women now coming out saying that Andrew Tate is innocent, and the authorities are claiming that we're victims, but I'm not a victim. And a massive account on Twitter is Mario Norful. And he's someone who claims to be unbiased and to be, a source for the news. But he is one of the biggest Andrew Tate propagandists. And so let me show you this, where he fell in line with the same playbook that, that Andrew Tate's propaganda network did. So look here, this one girl's come out to defend him, which we just covered. Look, Mario Norful now posts, oh, a second woman, capitals, listed as a victim in the Tate case, just came forward saying she's not a victim. Let's see if I think we can see here we go. A second woman listed as a victim in the Tate case, but quoting her, I've told them more than once, I'm not a victim. I feel more like a victim of DICOT. That's the Romanian, it's like the Romanian FBI, because they're trying to paint me as a human trafficking victim. She says the brothers helped her many times. How many victims have to say they aren't victims before someone listens? Now, again, same playbook. Let me see. This was community noted, but this video, let me see if I can pull it because I posted it. same playbook though, where this woman and this footage is from over a year ago. Sassy Southern Blonde, who you should definitely follow if you want to keep track of what's going on with the case. She posted a direct link from YouTube where this is the woman coming out in front of DICOT building here after one of their hearings in Romania, saying that she is included as a victim, but she's not a victim. So this is again like old footage, and so what did Mario Norfolk do? He deleted it, of course, because he didn't want to be community noted.
Can I mention something, Nathan?
Yeah, of course, jump in.
I don't remember exactly how many women are now alleged victims between the multiple countries, but I know that it's maybe 30 plus. I'm not sure. But so 3 women say they're not victims, and dozens of women say they are. And the reality is that both can be true at once.
Yeah, you still there?
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
like everybody's screaming he's innocent of all the charges because 3 women have come forward and said they're not victims, but we have dozens of victims here. So, okay, 3 women can claim they're not victims, but dozens say they are. Both those things can be true at once. 3 women trying to exonerate him don't speak for all the women who claim terrible things did happen to them.
There's two women who've been very public in saying that they're not victims. And this is the important thing to point out when it comes to human trafficking victims, is that you can have someone who is included as a victim in a human trafficking case who is in fact saying that they're not a victim. And that's partly because of the nature of human trafficking, is because these women, I mean, when you think about what human trafficking victims can go through, it's like a cult where there's a lot of programming going on. There's a lot of brainwashing going on. It could just be absolutely horrendous situations, including abuse psychologically, physically. So a woman may say that I'm not a victim, but that's where prosecutors can look at the evidence and determine, based on this evidence, know that we can see that this woman was in fact human trafficked. So they're going to be included as a victim, and then that'll be taken to court. Also, another element with human trafficking is that with trafficking victims, there can also be a component with blackmail as well. So a human trafficking victim might be saying, I'm not a victim. And that might be because they're still being threatened. And that if they were to speak out, then their human trafficker and their network could release a whole lot of things, including, potentially in the Tate situation, pornography that they have. But it also could be because they're being threatened as well. So two of the alleged victims with the Tates have been very public saying that they're not victims. But it's important to point out that they're still in Dubai in the Tate circle. And, even to really nail this home, even one of these women is saying, I'm not a victim, and she's on camera. And then meanwhile, she has tattoos saying Tate owned on her. So, that's important to cover with this when it comes to women who are saying, I'm not a victim. But also, I don't think that it's unbelievable that the Tates would also have women come out that aren't even alleged victims in the case, saying that they're not victims. It's all possible when it comes to the Tate brothers. I want to stay on Mario Norfolk just quickly and their propaganda network, because this article was written March 2024. So again, with Mario Norfolk, he's someone who's massive with the X spaces. That's a big one that he does. And he's even done spaces on the Andrew Tate's criminal cases. And again, this is someone who claims to be unbiased. Let me just skim through a bit of this. So here it says, supporters of Andrew and Tristan Tate, misogynist manosphere influencers who were indicted last year on human trafficking charges in Romania, are keeping the duo in the headlines by hosting massive discussions on X. But according to some who are convinced that the brothers are guilty, those same influencers who often portray themselves as champions of free speech are keeping well-informed critics out of the discussion to protect the brothers' reputations. All right, let's go down. All right, here we go. After the arrests, Mario Norful, a popular personality on X, quickly launched a Spaces event to discuss what was the next for the Tates. Norful promises no bias and no echo chambers on his Spaces in his X bio. But according to some critics of Tate, one of Norfol's associates, who they say has harassed some of Tate's alleged victims, prevented them from joining in order to keep unfavorable information about the case from being heard. All right, this is where Crayon Murders, who people should be familiar with if they're aware of my coverage. And he was on our last stream, which you can go to my channel. Excuse me, you can find. And I think that was a really good stream with Crayons breaking down what's going on. So this is a quote from Crayons. I was asked again to speak on Mario Norfol's Space discussing the Tate case. And once again, a co-host, Sheikh Suleiman, whose name is Suleiman Ahmed, refused to let me speak. He's a fraud and a coward hiding information for Tate. Unfiltered, unbiased, my ass. Now, this happened over and over and again, where Crayon Murders, who for my money is the most well-informed when it comes to the Tate brothers' criminal cases, and who's been covering it the most consistently for the longest amount of time. He would go to these X spaces and he would continually be denied to be able to speak. Now, do you know what actually came out afterwards? Is that other hosts for Mario Norful then said that this was actually a policy, that they deliberately would not let Crayon speak because of how well informed he was, and that it would actually, the truth, I believe, about the Tate's criminal cases, that they didn't want it to be heard. So they would actually prevent him from speaking. So that's what other X Spaces hosts have come out saying, that it was a policy to not allow Crayon Murders to speak. So, and then Sheikh Suleiman is someone who has actually been caught, Suleiman Ahmed, who was actually caught being paid by Andrew Tate to go to Florida and to allegedly investigate one of the alleged victims. So he's a paid crony of Andrew Tate, who's hosting Spaces for Mario Norful on Andrew Tate, preventing people who are actually well informed about the true nature of the Tate cases from speaking. This is a good insight to how Tate's influencer propaganda network works, and it's still ongoing. So this is where it's good to point out to see who are these people that are actually, I believe, in the pocket of Andrew Tate. So Mario Norful is one of the biggest. Why he's doing it? Money, I don't know. I'm not sure. But he is absolutely compromised, and he's just a complete bad faith propagandist. Let's have a look at what else. Look, this is interesting as well. Here you have George Jenko. Now he's someone who this is the thing with the Tate brothers, right? They would be interviewed on platforms, and I'm not sure. The closest I saw to Andrew Tate getting pushback was maybe Piers Morgan. But unfortunately, even Piers Morgan, it didn't appear that he had done the research to even understand what Andrew Tate's, the accusations against him were. So he would just get steamrolled by Andrew Tate saying, no, this isn't true. This is what it's about, which I mean is absolutely, I believe he's just lying. Again, I'm being sued, so I have to be careful with my language, but I believe that he was lying. And unfortunately, Piers Morgan didn't appear confident in his ability to be able to push back. But otherwise, I believe everyone else that Andrew Tate was interviewed by, he knew that he was going onto a safe space where he'd get no credible pushback and he'd be able to just amplify, again, I believe, lies about the accusations against him. George Janko was one of those people. You can't, I mean, look at this guy. Like this guy, part of like the Logan Paul circle he was at one point in time. This is not someone who's doing deep dives into Andrew Tate's criminal cases. This is not someone who's going to go to the due diligence of reading hundreds of pages of a Romanian indictment. This is absolutely someone who I believe is a cloud chaser and a grifter who is going to profit off Andrew Tate's massive following. Anyway, so he released this video just this week, and I think this is very, very telling. And yeah, I think he deleted this, right? Someone just said George deleted this video, and I think that's true. I think he did delete this. But let's play this. I think there's going to be a lot of these videos that come out in the next little while. Especially if Andrew Tate is convicted. Fingers crossed. We hope he gets a fair trial, but I believe, based on the evidence, that he committed these crimes. If he's convicted, man, you're going to have a lot of people who are going to be memory holing how they propped him up and rubbed shoulders with him. So here we go. This is I think a very small taste of what's more to come.
Hey, what's up? I made a big mistake, and I'm here to clarify it. There's a thing that the podcasters do. They create a reel to get you hooked, to get you to watch the podcast. And in my hook, to some people, it looks like I'm endorsing Andrew Tate. If you guys know who I am or watch my content, or honestly watch the video of me sitting down with Andrew, in that podcast that I sit down with Andrew, he even says that he wants to rethink things. So I never was pointing people to Andrew Tate being the leader. I always point to Jesus as being the leader. But I made a mistake, and I went too hard on the clickbaiting. And now people are upset. They're thinking I'm endorsing him. I'm not endorsing him. I'm endorsing Jesus. So if you guys want a real leader, go to Jesus. And to anybody who's frustrated at me for making those videos, dude, I'm sorry, man. And I'm honestly getting used to getting on the camera and apologizing. But I just want to say I'm so sorry. And no, I do not endorse his behavior. I never have. Never have.
Yeah. I mean, what do you say? The guy even admits to doing clickbait. But let's go to Patrick Bet-David, because Patrick Bet-David has been one of the biggest. Let me try and find the latest from him. Give me 1 second. I thought I had this bookmarked. I don't. So let me just try and find it. But like I was saying earlier, I think Patrick Bet-David is really one of those people where, him and his panel have got so close to the Tate brothers that I don't think anything could come out that's where they would actually then disown Andrew Tate and they would admit that they were completely wrong about it. I just don't see it. Here you go, PPD podcast. So they even had Andrew Tate's lawyer on as well. Now, this is important to point out. You've got guys like this, and even someone like Piers Morgan, who, as I just said, I think he was the closest to actually attempting to hold feet to the fire when it came to Andrew Tate and the criminal accusations against him. Up until this week with Piers Morgan, no one who was also platforming Andrew Tate was platforming his alleged victims or the lawyers representing his alleged victims. So there was no attempt to actually counterbalance what Andrew Tate was saying with the alleged victims' stories. That's egregious. And this is where I truly believe that the Andrew Tate story in years to come is going to be just a real indictment of just alternative media and how much of a colossal failure it was in avoiding all the same traps as mainstream media, and in fact, in many ways, being far worse. In that it was completely not unbiased. It was, way too close to the story, and it was, it was driven by ratings and engagement and clout instead of actually pursuing the truth. And so, I think that's going to be, in my mind, with the work I do, if you're familiar with my platform, I think that's one of the major stories when it comes to Andrew Tate. And I think it's going to be one of the major elements, if Andrew Tate is found guilty, that we cannot let these people off the hook. These people who gave Andrew Tate a platform, allowed him to uncheck, spread, I believe, lies about the criminal accusations, while he was also, I believe, harassing the victims, completely mischaracterizing what the realities of those charges were. That is actually a good post that's I want to read on that, but I might get to that after we cover Patrick Bet-David. So let's go here. This is one of those things where, as I was saying before, some of these narratives that are being put out to defend Andrew Tate are just they are not even based in reality. And it's not only is what they're saying is completely just baffling how anyone could believe it. Let's just play it and then we can talk about it.
On the podcast, he said something along the lines that he rejected a $50 million offer to drop everything from, the powers that be and go away. So my only question is, he's getting offered this stuff. Did he know that this was going to happen? Did he have any inclination that this was going to go down? Because, why do an emergency podcast if nothing is going to go wrong? It's almost as if he knew something was coming.
So anytime you reject that offer, something is going to come at some point. He rejected that offer, I want to say somewhere around 2022, 2023, probably 2022. And he had several of them. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. That's the truth. When you reject that offer, it's only a matter of time before they come. And they started coming, and they're going to keep coming until they get what they want. They did it to Trump. They're doing it to Tate. And to your viewers, with all due respect, because I admire you and I appreciate your concern, listen to what we are saying. When I first started litigating the January 6 cases, I was the only lawyer who stepped up and spoke out and said, hey, what's going on here is wrong. There are a lot of problems with these cases. These guys are being held in solitary confinement for months and years at a time. Eventually, there's problems with what happened at the Capitol. There's more than meets the eye. The media is working, especially the leftist media, and certainly at some point Fox News, hand in glove with the Department of Justice to proffer a selective narrative to the public to impugn 2,000 American citizens and call them domestic terrorists, insurrectionists, and all these things. It took us 3 years to change the narrative. It took us a couple years as well to make the Trump pardons palatable to Trump, palatable and digestible to the American public, and he signed them on day one because they were just and because they were proper and because that's what justice demanded. I understand that it's difficult, and I understand that the average American citizen, when they hear the Department of Justice saying something, or a government like the UK saying that these charges are real and you should listen, that comes with a certain amount of institutional credibility. But when politics are behind the accusations, when politics are in secret NGO money is funding this out and out international persecution of these guys, you got to step back and you got to say, has this happened before? Yes, it's happened before. Look no further than the president that you currently have in power.
If you haven't purchased your tickets, go to vault2026.com. Get your ticket.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. That was community noted, Andrew Tate's claim of rejecting a $50 million plea offer is unverified. No such offer appears in court records or prosecutor's statements for his Romanian case. This is where Tate does this, but also people who follow Candace Owens or even Tucker Carlson. Just this is the same technique, right? Says something absolutely outrageous. Let me see
that offer. I want to say somewhere around 2022, 2023, probably 2022. And he had several of them.
Mhm.
That's a fact. That's the truth. When you reject.
That's a fact. That's the truth. Has anyone seen any evidence for this? Has any evidence been provided whatsoever for this? Who's he even talking about? Who's making these offers on behalf of who? Who's he talking? Romanian government, UK government, American government, someone else? You know, is the Jews? Are you like, who is it? It's not. He's just saying he was offered $50 million for a plea. Again, zero evidence whatsoever. Andrew Tate has done the same thing time and time again. You know, he did it even, I think it was last year, was with one of the alleged victims, where he said that she was paid $200,000 to make statements against him and that he had the paperwork. No paperwork was ever shown, you know. And like with this meathead lawyer, no evidence will ever be shown because it's just absolute rubbish. It's complete nonsense, you know. And it's obviously complete nonsense. But then you got this complete idiot over here on PBD's podcast who's completely bought into it. You know, I let me play this is Matt Jury, he's victim for alleged UK victims who are suing Andrew Tate in court. So there's 4 alleged victims in this UK lawsuit. 3 of these UK victims went to the police in 2014 and 2015, and they made complaints against Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate was arrested at that time, and he was interrogated about it. This is Hertfordshire police. It was then referred to the Crown prosecution, who then, after a few years, decided they weren't going to pursue charges against Andrew Tate. That then, with these alleged victims, they continued to pursue justice against them, and so that's why they then sued them in the UK court. This has been going on for years and years and years, and yeah, it was all set to go to trial. I believe it was early next year, maybe March, I think, next year. But in fact, the Hertfordshire police, they actually took a look at the case from back, a decade ago, and they actually realized, hold on a second, they were, why wasn't this properly pursued? There's actually something here. And so they've now reopened this case. So that's put a pause on the UK civil case as the Hertfordshire police are now reinvestigating these complaints the UK women made against Andrew Tate over a decade ago. This is completely separate to the UK case that Andrew and Tristan Tate are being extradited to. So these are completely separate alleged victims from the UK. This just gives you a window of how long this has been going on, and if it's true, how many alleged victims there are. The pattern of what these brothers have allegedly been getting away with. So this is Matt Jury, who's representing the alleged victims in the UK civil case. It should also be pointed out that Matt Jury is part of our defamation case. So he was also lumped into that defamation case. And the Tate brothers have alleged that he's also part of the conspiracy, along with me and Just Me and Crayons and Gadgets, to defame the Tate brothers. So let's throw to Matt Jury, who is very well acquainted with the Tate brothers at this point in time, and how their PR narratives work. And this is a good follow-up to just the absolute slop that you saw being presented on the PPD podcast.
You've got the Tate brothers' lawyer, Joseph McBride, who we heard earlier. He says the Tate brothers are American citizens who deserve full American constitutional protections. There should be no extradition of American citizens when the charges are unclear and political. What do you say to that?
Well, there's quite a bit to unpack there. I mean, firstly, yes, they're American citizens, but they're also British citizens.
They both have dual citizenship.
They're dual nationals.
Yeah.
Correct. The alleged victims are British. The alleged crimes were committed on British soil. So the UK courts have got jurisdiction. There's no argument about that at all. As to Mr. McBride's statements that this is some sort of political persecution, well, you can go ahead and say it's political persecution, but it doesn't make it so. On what basis is he saying that? He's offered no explanation as to why this is a political persecution.
You've got the Tate brothers' lawyer, Joseph McBride.
Yeah, this is the thing that Tate's continually say we're being persecuted by the Matrix, and we're victims, we're political victims, but they always fail to consistently be able to specifically name why they're being persecuted and by who. And in fact, it's changed so often over the years, it's hard to even keep track. Crayon Murders has done a post where he just laid out over the years all the different people that they've claimed, from the Biden administration to Jews to the UK to George Soros to, I mean, it changes. It's whatever is vogue in the moment, is what it is. And so now this is what they're going with. The narrative is that the UK has been so colossally terrible at prosecuting UK grooming gangs that the fact that they now appear to be attempting to seriously prosecute the Tate brothers, there's zero consistency. If they actually cared about prosecuting rape and sex trafficking, they would have prosecuted the UK grooming gangs. Therefore, this must be political. Which, I mean, all right, like you're not gonna find me defending the UK Crown prosecution. I literally just explained how they completely failed, I believe, these alleged victims. But that doesn't necessarily mean that because they've dropped the ball in other instances, and yes, most egregiously the UK grooming gang victims, that then means that every single time they prosecute any alleged rapist or sex trafficker, that it immediately means that they're innocent because they didn't prosecute the UK grooming gangs. That's just absolute nonsense to me. I believe that yes, the Crown prosecution has failed in the past, but they should be rewarded when they attempt to actually properly prosecute people where there is credible evidence that they've committed atrocious crimes like this. Let's see how this goes. But this is where it's just, in my mind, to be able to weaponize the Crown prosecution's failure when it comes to the UK grooming gangs is just sick and twisted, and it's absolutely gross. It's absolutely gross. And this is where the Tate brothers all of a sudden appear to care about UK grooming gangs. Well, it was only, I believe it was a year ago, where there was, in fact, one of the UK grooming gangs. I believe her name is Samantha Smith. And she posted about the Tate brothers and their hypocrisy with exactly this. How dare they weigh into the grooming gangs with the allegations against them? And so what did the Tate brothers do to this grooming gang victim? They then tormented her. They threatened her with legal action. And they said they were going to make her life a living hell. So she then backed down and deleted her post. That wasn't enough for them. They continued to torment this UK grooming gang victim by saying, you need to now make us a sandwich. All sorts of terrible things like this. So, no, the Tate brothers, of course, don't care about UK grooming gangs, their victims. and it's just gross that they are attempting to exploit it. Let's dial back to Patrick Bet-David and his history with the Tate brothers. So after Andrew Tate was released to house arrest in 2023, and immediately after he was indicted, Patrick Bet-David and one of his lackeys, Adam, I can't remember his last name, Soz something. They flew over there and they gave Andrew Tate. They did, I think it was a 4.5 hour interview, which was completely unchecked. So this thing of like, what you see the Tate lawyer saying $50 million, it was that for 4.5 hours. Let me show you some of this where it's just equally complete slop. Yeah. This is Andrew Tate. So this is from that 4.5 hour interview.
My brother was put in jail for being my brother. He hasn't said any videos. He hasn't said anything on the internet. He hasn't said any of the things I've supposedly said. Why was Tristan Tate in jail? Because it's Tate brothers.
So if you let the girl be in charge of her own phone contact with members who like her, you are setting yourself up to get scammed. All she has to do is type a sort code and account number to a member. And that has happened to me before. I went to the room, smashed the room up, told her I knew what she did. She sent me all the money, but that has happened to me before.
So they just took him and threw him in a cell.
If you let them take full control over their accounts, they will run away.
And I sat there, I said to Tristan, you got thrown in jail purely for being my brother.
You said slave those bitches. You said slave those bitches, work them 12 hours or more.
You're a bitch. And he was only in jail for being my brother.
There you go. So that's a bit of a insight into that 4.5 hour interview, and some of the I believe complete nonsense that Andrew Tate was allowed to spread. But let me just point out, it's not only that Patrick Bet-David and his network continually over and over again platformed Andrew Tate and allow him to just spread absolute nonsense like that. But it's also just the hypocrisy of it. Let me play this. This is a good indication of Patrick Bet-David's complete hypocrisy. So likewise with the Tate brothers pretending to care about UK grooming gang victims, let's play Patrick Bet-David pretending to care about human trafficking.
The topic of human trafficking is very disturbing, and especially the more research you do, the stories you read, it's even more uncomfortable to talk about. And like I said earlier, this is not a comfortable topic to be discussing. However, if we don't talk about it because, it's so uncomfortable, how are we going to be educated?
The audience that's watching this, there's a couple things we want to do for you. We want the world to see this interview, and a lot of you guys will be part of history. 5 of these hats, Future Looks Bright, will be signed by Tate. And on Twitter, we will pick anybody that posts the interview there would hashtag Tate PBD for the interview when we release this. 5 of you are going to get these hats sent over to you for you to pick them up. Once again, brother, really enjoyed this.
The Tate brothers are under criminal investigation in Romania on accusations of human trafficking, trafficking of minors, and sexual intercourse with a minor.
But we have to talk about it because it's happening right in front of us.
So Patrick Bet-David pretending to care about human trafficking. Meanwhile, this interview, like I said, immediately after Andrew Tate was released to house arrest, after being indicted for allegedly human trafficking, rape, and organized crime. There's even more. I want to pull up the actual interview now, because it's even worse than that. So while he's giving this interview with this potential rapist, human trafficker, he's doing a competition where he's getting that, potential human trafficking rapist to sign hats to then give away so he can, boost the audience. I think you can. Oh, wrong one. Sorry, they've given so many interviews over the years. It's hard to keep track of which one. I think it's this one here.
Before you watch this exclusive
is the one here.
interview with
All right. So he's doing giveaways with signed hats. This is the end of the 4.5 hour, I believe, propaganda fest.
got a couple gifts we want to give you. The audience that's watching this, there's a couple things we want to do for you.
They also
we
gave
want the
him
world
gifts
to see
as
this
well.
interview, and a lot of you guys will be part of history. 5 of these hats, Future Looks Bright, will be signed by Tate. And on Twitter, we will pick anybody that posts the interview there with hashtag Tate PBD for the interview when we release this. 5 of you are going to get these hats sent over to you for you to pick them up. And aside from that, I got a gift for you as well.
Amazing.
Let's start off with the first one. The first one is a Bible, okay?
Okay.
Now, whatever you choose to do with this, whether you give it to Tristan or you keep it,
Yeah.
this is a special Bible because it's from 1870.
Wow.
Okay, this is not a newer Bible. It's 1870. We wanted to give you a gift that would have a lot of meaning behind it. We had to go look for this. Brandon worked very hard to find this. We finally found it. So this is a gift from us to you.
Brother, I absolutely love things like this. Thank you very much.
And one of our vice presidents in our company, Haz Bozi, who is a Muslim himself, but we love this guy, respectable leader.
Yeah.
His family, we were calling around to get a high quality Quran with a lot of meaning behind it.
Yeah.
The Quran that his mom passed down to them is the one he gave to us for us to give to you. Can we look for this all over the place?
Brother, thank
So
you.
this is
Because you got to remember that Andrew Tate had just converted to Islam at this point in time. So that's why they're giving him a
gift to you as well. We know this is important to you. If you open it up with the presentation in it, I hope you appreciate that.
Here we
I think it's right there. So this is something that's been passed from family to family to family.
It's incredible.
We hope you appreciate that too. And then the last
Crown Murders made a interesting point where he said, how long until Andrew Tate converts to Christianity? Now he's in America, in prison. And that's a good point. I could absolutely see that happening.
last one is a book I read years ago by a guy that's an interesting guy, C.S. Lewis. It's one of the best books I've read, Mere Christianity. If you've never read it, he's an interesting guy, Oxford professor who went from being an atheist to all of a sudden believing in God, and his transition to it, it's wild. If you've never read it, highly recommend you reading that. I think you will enjoy it.
This is incredible. I'm truly humbled. And yeah, if they send me back, I have plenty to read. I'll take them with me. Thank you very much.
Plenty of reading.
Gave him all these gifts, signed hats for competition. That's not the cherry on top. Just wait.
Once again, brother, really enjoy this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Connect is an application which allows you to take a minute to connect with influencers from all around the world. My name is Andrew Tate, and I'm available to speak directly to you on Connect.
See, they're in business with Andrew Tate as well. Connect is Patrick Bet-David's Cameo.
Minute to connect with
Cameo type platform where you can pay, ridiculous prices to get messages from influencers or, potential human trafficking rapists as well. So that's the other thing to remember is that Patrick Bet-David is even in business with Andrew Tate. This is just how gross it is. We got Gadget has popped in. I want to pull Gadget up. Feel free to unmute your mic, Gadget, if you want to jump in, if you're free to speak.
Hi, mate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Good for you to join. Gadget was on the last stream along with Crayon Murders, but for those who aren't aware, Gadget is also part of the lawsuit that Andrew Tate launched against us. So he's part of that as well. And I'll remind everyone, you can support our fundraiser for the lawsuit. The banner down the bottom has the website, givesendgo.com/free speech versus Tate. And so we need to get to that $70,000 figure to cover our current legal bills that we have. So yeah, if you can donate to support us, that'd be great. We'd really appreciate that. But let me. I just want to cover a couple of the people who've contributed. So this one before. Thank you, Tyler, for that. Very generous, mate. Thank you, Yvette. Very generous. Cover this one from Mandy, but I just want to pop it up on the screen because I don't think I did that before. So I just want to make sure I do that. Thank you, James. Very kind of you. Old Mean Lady. Appreciate it. This one, so I meant to get to you before, Jeff Wire. I wrote summary of Ryan Dawson's Tate simping. FYI. Let me try and people can if they want to send me tips or anything, you can email me at themilkbartv@gmail.com. I need to attach that, update that to my link tree and everything. But yeah, if you do want to get me anything, any tips or anything, send it there. Ryan Dawson is absolutely one of the most shameless ones. Gadget can probably even cover that best. But when I was saying about Suleiman Ahmed, who was part of Mario Norfol's platform, and him being paid to go and try and dig up allegedly dirt on one of Tate Brothers' alleged victims, Ryan Dawson was also there. So they were there. And then also from Sav Smiles, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm going to try and keep an eye on comments and cover questions. So drop any questions and I'll try and cover them if I see them. But yeah, if you send through super chats, I'll make sure I'll stay on top of that and definitely get to those questions. Gadget, I think you might have dropped something in our chat, but we've just been covering the cope and the meltdowns and how Tate's propaganda network works and how we've seen it operate over the past week. So feel free to drop anything into our chat. But yeah, do you want to kind of contribute? What are your thoughts on what you've seen over the past week?
Well, I mean, it's sad. The people that are, the way I put it, is going down with the ship. I guess like the Patrick Bet-Davids and people like this. It's pathetic stuff. And this, what I just dropped in your chat, yeah, this video here, this is actually very relevant to the Tate propaganda network. And I think I'd be very interested in, it's a voice note that Tristan sent, Ed Krasenstein, that is just recently released. And if you haven't seen it, I'd be very interested in your live reaction to it. It's I think with the context me and you and some others have, we can pick up on a few things that, for example, the average influencer that Tristan might just randomly message these things to in conversation might not understand. It's very telling in that how some people might just casually have maybe posted, oh, the Tates are innocent because of XYZ, and just naively believe some of these things. So it's wild. This one's crazy.
I remember we did a space. It's gone back like a couple of years ago, and Ed Krasenstein was co-hosting it, and it was from Kat Bronsky was the one who also organized it, and it was really good. It was a really good space. But I remember Ed Krasenstein at the time, not defending Tristan Tate, but saying that he had actually had communications with Tristan Tate. And I saw him post just the other day saying, I have these voice notes from Tristan. Should I release them? So I'm very interested to listen to this. All right, let's listen to this live. I haven't heard this.
I had a conversation with Tristan Tate that I think everybody needs to hear. You're going to hear him make up some insane scenario about myself before he goes on to mock the alleged victims and come up with crazy excuses.
Look, you and your brother, if you were accused of rape in China, okay, sure, I'd probably give you a hard time and troll you for a while. But if a Chinese court said, no, there's no evidence against the Krasenstein brothers, I'd bow my head and I'd be like, you know what? I was wrong about those guys. They're not actually Chinese rapists.
Now listen to what Tristan Tate told me about his human trafficking charges.
Like, why the would I human traffic somebody? Do you know how rich I was before this thing started? Why would I kidnap some retard? Yeah, it's all nonsense. Anyone who speaks out in support of me, Don Jr. or otherwise, is I appreciate.
Is he saying wealthy people don't human traffic? And why is he thanking Don Jr.? I had a conversation with Tristan Tate that I think everybody needs to hear.
Yeah, this is the thing where it's they I think they've been very effective with this. They like the Tate brothers.
This is very slick. This is,
but
because
this is
Ed
where
has
the Tate brothers are complete, as we know, they're complete morons. You know, the fact that they seemingly left like years long trail of I believe confessions to human trafficking speaks to just, you know, how much of complete idiots these guys are. But I think their genius is in their ability to be able to spin narratives. And also, you know, you got to remember that Andrew Tate himself even taught a course in networking and how he was able to get in with Donald Trump Jr. And the steps that took. You know, this is where it's like I believe these guys are like psychopathic in their ability to be able to lie, and just that pure narcissism, where they're able to use all these different techniques to be able to manipulate people into believing they're absolute rubbish. That's where it's like, you know, so many of these people who come out and defend them, you know, these aren't people who believe that the Tate brothers are human traffickers and rapists. These are people who've, I believe, been manipulated by the Tate brothers into believing this, and there's certainly like a big grift element to it as well, where it gets engagement and clicks. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like what they sell is so far from reality. If you take just the most, you know, cursory look at the actual evidence and the accusations. But you know, most of these grifters and influencers don't bother to do that. So, you know, so what him saying is, oh, there's no evidence and it's been dropped, and you know.
So he's implying, the way I read that is he's implying that a Romanian judge said that about their case, because he's saying if a Chinese judge said this about Ed Krasenstein, I would be like, well, he's obviously innocent. So he's in a very slick way, and this is where they can be clever, as dumb as they are. He's just, if someone who's not as switched on as Ed, say if Aiden Ross or someone could hear that and be like, oh my God, Romania must have said this about free Top G, right? So Ed, to his credit, has never repeated any of this stuff. It didn't work on him in that way. But so the two things I picked up on there. One, he implied that Romania has said that there's no evidence against the Tates. A judge has said that. Never happened. That has never ever happened. And two, he's given the whole, if I was rich, why would I do this? I was so rich when this started. So one, that's dumb because rich people can traffic. Look at the Epstein case. But two, as I know you're well aware, the Tates got their first money in their webcam business. So
as they said.
Yes, many times. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
but of course, Ed Krasenstein probably isn't aware of that. Otherwise, he would have said that in his caption as well, or in the video as well. And I don't blame him for not being able. That's deep law. I don't blame him for not knowing that. But you can see how a more naive person would not know that and hear that. And yeah, you can see how like younger, dumber influencers can be manipulated by this stuff.
Yeah, of course, you know, and it's this is where it's just, we're completely living in the aftermath of COVID and just this conspiracy theorist mindset that's just run absolutely rampant. So, you know, that's where it's just, they say, oh, I'm being persecuted, I'm being victimized, and you know, and no one bothers to actually look into it. And even if they do, it's, you know, there is no way to disprove a conspiracy like that. Everything only further proves it. So yeah, that's, you know, that's why I even seeing like Nick Fuentes say, you know, he's fully defending the Tate brothers. And this is, you know, so you have Nick Fuentes. So anyone who is aware of this account knows I'm not a fan of Nick Fuentes. But Nick Fuentes he actually has like some great analysis when it comes to, especially Candace Owens or even Tucker Carlson. So he'll be spot on when it comes to Tyler
Yeah.
Robinson and the
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk assassination. Where he'll just say this, like, Israel is behind it, is complete nonsense. The evidence is completely, overwhelming. It's open and shut, and you're a complete idiot if you buy into this idea that Tyler Robinson is some kind of patsy. But then he'll go on and say, "Oh yeah, like Andrew Tate told me when the cameras were off. He told me what's really going on here. He told me the actual story."
Like,
blah, blah. It's like, oh, did he when the cameras are off? Again, like where is this evidence? Provide it. Show it. And
Like if Tyler Robinson sat you down and seemed cool and told you these things, would you believe it then?
Well, yeah, the cameras are off. This is the complete nonsense, and it's the thing. It's the same thing with the Tate brothers, knucklehead lawyer McBride, where it's just like, oh, it's truth. It's just the truth. It's this is where it's just you like no one. It's just all trust me, bro. Yeah, and no, that should never be never be enough for anyone to accept as any kind of benchmark for evidence. Likewise with me, I'm sure with you, Crayons has said so himself. No one should ever accept my word on anything I say as the gospel and just say, well, okay, right, well, Nathan said it, so that must be true. If I make a claim, I fully expect people should ask me for what's the evidence to back it up, and I should have that ready to be able to provide it, or I'm not going to be making the claim. But people are so allergic, especially influencers, especially alternative media. It's so allergic to actually doing due diligence and reading legal documents. I don't want to get sidetracked by the Epstein stuff, but the Epstein stuff is absolutely the case with this. The same people who are always going on about release the Epstein files are exactly the people who have not bothered to actually read the court transcripts or look at the evidence that is public and that is available, because they love narratives like this. Narratives like this make them. It's just it tickles their bones that there's this massive conspiracy top down. And it allows them to be lazy and to not actually do the hard work of looking into things. So this is really, really fascinating. And this speaks to what I was saying before, where, if you were to look at the Tate brothers' DMs on Twitter alone, it would be fascinating to see how far the tentacles have reached and how deep. I think would be very, very telling. And this is where it's, if they are convicted, a lot of people are going to be scrubbing those DMs and distancing themselves from their associations.
In my post I just shared with this video from Ed, one thing I said was I'll be very interested to see, especially once more of the details that maybe we're aware of come out and or become more widely known, how many of like influencers and streamers start sharing these things. And I think we're going to see a lot of just insane lies and gaslighting from the Tates towards a lot of people with bigger accounts. Some who may have ran with it and defended them, and some who, Ed was smart enough to be like, well, I'm not going to say anything. And I remember him saying in the space that innocent until proven guilty, I don't know enough about to comment. And that's fine. I don't expect people that don't know enough about the cases to condemn them or be as confident in their opinion that they're guilty as I am. That's fine. But so yeah, I'll be very interested to see, because the thing with these guys is we talk about how they are effective at lying, and really what it is to me, a big part of it is that they're so confident in everything they say, in all the lies. And that's one thing we've seen from Andrew, and that's why I think he's been so effective at, in my opinion, brainwashing so many young lads, is because he says everything with 100% confidence. Like there's no doubt in his mind it's true. And if you look into the words he's saying, it's utter garbage and nonsense and just ridiculous. But this is very convincing and very manipulating to young lads, young people in general. This kind of just insane confidence in what they're saying. It's hypnotizing. And I don't think young streamers and people like this aren't immune to that as well. It's social media has made them especially gullible to this. If someone's saying something so confidently, it has to be true. So yeah, young people need to be taught a lot more about being skeptical when fact checking things, and yeah. Oh, mate, I think you muted, mate.
Hear me? Yeah.
I can hear now,
It's
yep.
it's no, you're absolutely right. It's no different. It's no different to Candace Owens. People they're not used to this level of sociopath, or psychopath or narcissism, where people will just flat out lie. They're not used to that. And people are busy. They've got their lives to lead. So I totally get this. Like, people don't have the time to be able to dig into indictments from Romania. I understand that. But also, you shouldn't just take the word of people that are criminally charged with human trafficking and rape. That shouldn't be enough. There is a level where you should attempt to verify this stuff. And there needs to be, that's where accounts like me and you, I mean, that's what we're trying to do. Fact checking is very, very important. Holding people to account is very, very important. And I don't get sidetracked by this, but unfortunately, I think fact checkers as an industry has been a failure, and they've also been compromised by their own interests and whatever. So it's made fact checking itself seem like that it's compromised. Also kind of uncool as well. But I really hope that we're heading more in that direction, and I feel like we are. I do really feel like the Tyler Robinson, even just that preliminary hearing, I really feel like we turned a corner there, because this is the thing. It's like you can litigate this thing all over social media and podcasts and whatnot, and people can get away with saying anything now. There is zero accountability. So you can just get away with just flat out lying. But you can't in the court of law. Like that stuff just does not fly. And so if there's any place where objective reality is actually litigated and determined, it's in the court of law. And so, it gives me hope where I see people with the Tyler Robinson, with that preliminary hearing. Thank goodness it was being publicly aired and people are able to see all this evidence, because the conspiracy theorists they're just seen as an absolute joke now. So thank goodness. I hope that we've turned a corner on this. Let me read out this from Jackie Blue. Thank you very much for the very generous donation. You've humbly and quietly smashed through so much propaganda and delivered truth served up by people's own words. I have no question. I just want to thank you. We all thank you. Good, honest people rarely have large channels. That's the narrow path. Thank you. That's very kind words, and it means a lot. And that connects to what I was just saying. With the streams, I'm looking forward to doing the streams. I just with the MilkBarTV brand and what I do, in many ways, it's like what I was saying with about attempting to kind of fact check a lot of these lies that are being pushed out, but also, the trend of talking heads commenting on what's going on. I understand it's a very viral and it's a very effective way of communicating as content. But I also think that there's a massive downside to that, because in many ways you're still not doing the thinking for yourself. So even though someone might be commenting on something, and giving their take. I feel like people are still listening to this talking head, and it's a way that they kind of then hand over their own thoughts to that person a lot of the times. And I don't think that's actually, I don't think that's a good thing. Some people are really good, some people are really effective. But I think what's really important is for people to be able to develop those skills to see these things, to see people like Andrew Tate's lawyer speak, and to realize when he makes an outrageous claim and just says that's true, that's, you know, that's real, that people realize, oh, hold on a second, that guy just said something crazy and he said it's true, but how do I know that's true? And that's, you know, I think that's really important, especially for young people who are consuming a lot of content online, to still develop that analytical skills, to be able to think and to ask questions and to, you know, do their own due diligence to try and figure out what's true. So that's part of the MilkBarTV brand. But now with the live streams, you know, I can't always do that in the shorter video formats. Sometimes it is more effective to be able to look at things and to analyze it. And that's why I want the chat to actually be active and to be interacting with the chat to be able to do that. You know, this isn't me. It would be hypocritical for me to do a stream then and to do the exact thing that I was just criticizing and being a talking head. Which is not what I want to do. But also the main thing is that I really want to have a platform where I can have guests on and to interview people, because I think that's really valuable, and for the audience to be able to ask questions and to also interact with the guests. Anyway, that's a sidebar about just, you know, doing. I saw a couple of people saying MilkBar is doing streams now, so yeah. So this is me starting to dip my water into that. So I'm going to start doing it once a week. I'm still trying to figure out the times when is the best time to do that. So, and I'm still getting my head around, you know, making everything all fluid and actually being able to properly communicate and not just like stutter and my way through this. So bear with me as I try and develop this and work all the kinks out. I got from Lily A, another incredibly generous donation. Thank you. MilkBarTV, thank you for all the great work you've done. I truly believe you're an army against all these hypocrites, liars, and evils that have big microphones and influence millions of people, life and minds. God bless you. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind. It was just last week. It was the 3-year anniversary of starting this YouTube account. Anyway, so I kind of stopped posting on this for a little while, where this is the thing, right? It's hard to post about figures like Andrew Tate or even Candace Owens, and they're absolutely just like despicable stuff they put out there. It's actually not always easy to do this, and I just had my TikTok account suspended because a lot of these platforms, Gadget, you might actually have this. I'd be interested to hear this from you. You might have the same issue where, you know, for me especially, because my content is using people's own words, that a lot of the times the platforms can't actually differentiate between me analyzing and critiquing what they're saying and promoting it. So a lot of the times the tools that they have see me as just simply like promoting Andrew Tate. And that seemed like TikTok. It was like every video was getting a strike and I'd have to appeal it. And now it's been taken down. So yeah, for YouTube, it was a long time. Even me trying to get monetized, I couldn't do it because, you know, they even YouTube thought that what I was doing was just stealing content. It didn't see any value in me bringing my own voice to what I was putting out, which, you know, I can understand that in that I repackage footage, but I like to think my narratives are pretty clear. Anyway, we appear to have turned a corner for the time being, thankfully. So it's great to be able to see this channel start to build, and really like the YouTube channel in particular. I'm so overwhelmed by the amount of support that I received that I also want to start this stream to be able to interact with you guys, because I do really appreciate it. Do you have anything to say about that, Gadget? Have you had issues with YouTube or other platforms with covering Tate?
Definitely TikTok. I mean, TikTok, it's you can't post anything about Tate there, and it's because they have AI tools put in that if you put Tate's face or voice or whatever, it can get picked up and taken down. So I have a TikTok page kind of that if I just happen to be making clips about someone other than Tate, like Myron or someone, I'll put them up there, but I just don't even bother with Tate anymore. As far as what you said about YouTube, though, I find that interesting because I've not so much had that issue of videos being taken down because of duplicating or all these things. So that makes me wonder if they were actually like mass reporting you when you were putting up those videos. What I have had, though, early on when I was first monetized, I had lots of issues with monetization and getting yellow, and I've just kind of gotten better at working around that and just censoring words when I'm talking about cases, censoring all of the like trafficking. Even I'll censor that every time I say it, and I found that's helped me just keep my videos fully monetized nearly every time. So that's kind of been something that I've kind of just got with experience. But yeah, one interesting one I had on Threads. So I posted the very censored clip of Vivian being hit with the belt, and they took it down as child abuse material, like that I was sharing child abuse material. And yeah, and now every time I open Threads, it keeps putting up a message saying this post was taken down. I'm like every time I don't know, there's a glitch or something. Every time I open Threads, this thing pops up saying this post was taken down because it was deemed child abuse material. I think they have to remind me or something. And for anyone listening, it's not how to put it, an actual pornographic video. It's verbally abusive, and he's hitting her with a belt, but she is not fully naked or anything, and it's completely censored. I borrowed it, actually, a clip from your edits that was completely blurred. So someone
I had the same,
that.
same thing with that post that I did, because there is a blurred one, so I did blur it out. And like you said, there is nothing pornographic there, but it is the fact that there's potentially a 14, 15-year-old in lingerie being beaten by Tate.
It's disturbing. It's disturbing for sure.
It's disturbing. That's right. But yeah, same thing. I remember that post, got over 20 million impressions, and then it got dinged with like a sensitivity thing. And you're right. I'm pretty convinced that it would be the Tate's team who are trying to report this. Like, let's get this down.
Ironically, reporting his video as child abuse material, but that's I think that's what's happened too.
Thank you to Graham Factor. Let him cook. Let me just on PBD, and again, just this thing of alternative media. I forgot about this. This was when Andrew Tate was in America in March last year, and there was all the the hoopla with Ron DeSantis, and then the Florida's Attorney General talking about looking into allegations and potentially opening up an investigation. So PBD hosted Tate, and again, this is an insight into kind of where we're at with like alternative media and their sensational journalism.
Let's go to Shapiro's.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear Ben's crap. Let me talk about Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro.
This is where Patrick Bet-David goes to throw to Ben Shapiro talking about Andrew Tate, and he's just like, I don't want to hear it. And immediately PBD just backs down. So I think people have a pretty clear idea if you've been watching, PBD and what he's like. We should, at some point in time, other people have done good work. I think Gadget, you've even maybe covered it, PBD, with, his own just like shameless grifting and how he built his fortune, and even CoffeeZilla just recently exposed him with phone calls.
I've covered that a lot. How Patrick made his money, I think, partly explains why he gets along with Tate, as far as not the webcam way that Tate's made money, but the grifting way off men that he's made money. It's very similar. In my opinion, Patrick made his money just with a pyramid scheme, flat out. targeting like low-income immigrants and things like that. It's just very sick stuff. And he presents himself as some proper big businessman when he's not. He's a fraud. And I think, similar to Tate, I think lies about his wealth a bit as well, which is a whole rabbit hole I could go down. But yeah, so if anyone's interested, I have a few videos about that on my channel as well.
Yeah, let me just here's Tate Brothers lawyer on PBD. This is just one, just it's what we were just talking about, where people aren't used to just seeing someone just flat out lie, so they just buy it on face value. So here's another just clear example.
But now you want to equivocate him to Epstein. That is the play here. But I think any reasonable-minded person who has followed this story with any degree of attention understands that these types of allegations with minors and pornography, child stuff, has never been a part of the dialogue.
Police have raided Andrew Tate's home in Romania as new allegations emerge involving minors.
The trafficking of minors, sexual intercourse with a minor.
New accusation as well, like trafficking a minor or having sex with the minor. They accuse you of having sex with a 15-year-old.
So all of a sudden, this is here now, but now you want to...
So this is one of the narratives that they're pushing. Again, it's this thing of like that this is a Matrix attack. So they're attempting, the Matrix is attempting to draw parallels between Andrew Tate and Epstein. So they've all of a sudden invented allegations involving minors. If you have been, what does it say? If you, any reasonable-minded person who has followed this story with any degree of attention, I mean, this is where I talk about where they're not appealing to the general public or reasonable-minded people, because I think people have been aware for a while that minors have been involved in the dialogue, as he says, with Andrew Tate. And as you know, I put in here with this side by side, Andrew Tate was criminally charged with allegedly trafficking a minor and having sex with a minor, 2 separate minors, back in 2024, almost 2 years ago, in Romania. And on top of that, that video that we've been talking about, that's very famous and has been famous for quite a while. And that video of him, seamlessly, accidentally admitting that she was 15 when he was 21 has been around for a long time. So Andrew Tate and the dialogue with him with minors is not new. That's just completely ridiculous. But this is the weird thing where it's like a cult, and it reminds me of the Candace Owens thing as well, where it's, I say like, oh, they're not appealing to the general public, but at the same time, it's like people who are like hardcore Tate fanboys, even they are aware that minors have been involved with the dialogue. That's not new to them because they've been the ones who are in the comments defending Andrew Tate against these allegations. But it's that cult-like thing where they just hear the messaging and they're like, oh, well, this is the new messaging. So we're now going along with this messaging. This is new. Because they've just been programmed to immediately jump to Andrew Tate's defense and just to follow whatever op is being sent out there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Gadget has done like incredible work with covering the real world. And so that's where you see a lot of these bots and young people are running to their defense. So I don't know if you want to speak on that, Gadget, about this idea of them having this, cult-like army of, in some cases, children who rush to their defense.
Yeah, so I have actually initially started covering the Tates by doing a bit of a deep dive into their so-called university, the real world, which used to be called Husser's University. And so the things I was finding initially, this is back in 2023 when I was covering it, was that they were very specifically targeting literally school children. For example, they were spreading videos all over TikTok saying things like, we have 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds making more money than their teachers and their parents, and getting all these children excited about how much money they can make. And So I started a lot of campaign work to get a lot of those accounts that were doing that removed, and they've since kind of changed that messaging a bit. But what I think we're seeing now with the fan accounts that seem even more maybe brainwashed and falling for things that don't make sense. What I've seen happen even since 2023 when I've been covering, and I've seen this both from at times being inside the platform myself for research purposes and speaking to people that have been like people with leadership roles in the Tate's University that I've spoken to. They've confirmed this to me as well, that their supporter base has completely dwindled, especially the paying supporter base that are paying them to be in this university and being indoctrinated, I believe. So it's just massively dwindled ever since their first arrest in Romania. And then there's just been things that have just given it further hits, like their, in my opinion, crypto rug pulls against their own fans. They lost a lot of fans with that. Other charges coming out involving minors. They lost a whole lot of more fans with that. And then even more recently, the boxing fight where Andrew embarrassed himself against a TikToker with pink boxing gloves. They lost a lot of fans with that. So all these things have just kept happening to the point where if you look at when Tate was having a big influence over young kids in 2022, it's like a tiny, tiny, minuscule fraction of that. Nothing like it. And so what I think is mostly there now are the ones that have, like, there's a core base of his fans that have been there for years that, in my opinion, are so brainwashed that it's like legit. In my opinion, legitimately occults. Like they will believe anything. They will need a lot of help to break free from it. And there might be the odd kind of new one who might have maybe just got old enough to start coming across these videos, and more kids coming on board that weren't aware of, for example, his previous charges and things, but it's far fewer and far between. So it's just really sad to me seeing like a lot of these fan accounts are putting out all these embarrassing videos. Like one, they're bringing up all these old clips of the alleged victims who we've seen in recorded jail phone calls manipulated into putting out videos saying they're not victims. They're dragging out all these old videos and saying this video just came out. Like, embarrassing stuff.
Yeah, I covered that earlier.
With
one of the real world accounts. That's and then Mario Norfolk like jumped on it as well.
Idiots. Yeah. But a lot of these accounts are putting out all these just really embarrassing posts, and you look at the engagement on them, and like if you compare it to say 2022, like no one cares, and most people are just clowning on them. Like it's just sad. It's just sad. It's the propaganda is just not working like it used to anymore.
But that's where to me, when I see like the ridiculous, nonsense that McBride is putting out there about $50 million for a plea and this and that, it really does feel like it's having to appeal to their cult-like followers, because if they lose them, what do they have left really? I don't even know what their sources of income at this point in time would be outside of the real world and hustlers.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like rolling out McBride for these press conferences and on PBD podcast. So this is like exposing this guy saying a lot of the kind of things that we've been hearing him say for years to a larger audience, and the public at large is just like, what the hell is this? Is this guy really a lawyer?
Yeah. I keep saying that. I keep saying I'm loving that the world is now introduced to McBride, and it's just absolute knucklehead, dude. Your videos with those like they never did nothing wrong.
They never done nothing wrong. Yeah, and literally, I think the general public is just like, what did he just say? Wait, is this a lawyer? What? And we've been just seeing this stuff for years now. And this is the thing. It's like we're having to
we're seeing this close in that we're being sued by them.
Yes.
So we're seeing it firsthand, what it's actually like to see these knucklehead lawyers literally in hearings, and how embarrassing it is to see them attempt to plead to a judge.
Oh, it's funny stuff, and yeah, because if you really think about it, McBride he's made the odd appearances on bigger podcasts like with Tim Pool and things like this, but for the most part, he's really been just appealing to the Tate Online audience, really. And it's very different when he's just appealing to a bunch of impressionable 13-year-olds that have been hearing all these things anyway, and like, oh, look, a lawyer's saying this is cool. Like when you put that out into a bunch to the general public, to a bunch of adults, and lawyers are saying this on Twitter and being like, what in the hell? Like the things he's saying, like he's saying that, the UK's plan is to get them over there, threaten them with 100-year sentence, or they'll offer them a plea deal where they'll be out in 1.5 to 2.5 years. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. like he's just saying things that, like, it's like you don't even understand anything about law. Like, how did this guy get a license to practice law? It's incredible.
Yeah, my favorite is seeing crayons that you do as well, where you'll put their press releases and things out, and you put it through the AI analyzer to determine how much with the probability that it was written by AI. Shocker, a lot of the times it looks like it was. I want to from Lily, please reveal more the true colors of those who promoted and supported Andrew Tate in the last few years by giving him big platforms and kind of legitimize his actions. People like PBD and many others, especially in the right, are as guilty as him. I absolutely want to do this. This is something where it's like,
agree.
This is not going to be forgiven. This is the beauty where it's like the internet is forever.
Yep.
So, unless these people start pulling down all their interviews, but I mean, me and you, we've got plenty of it already.
Even
already
then,
pulled. And
the damage is done. The damage is done. Like, we wouldn't have even had to probably do this if it wasn't for these people.
Yeah, that rings a bell. Let me I just want to read this post out from Catherine Brodsky. Catherine's great. She's a writer, and she's also from time to time been covering the Tates, and like we said, she hosted one of the spaces. I really recommend people follow Catherine, who's just a really like level-headed, unbiased person. But this is what she wrote just today on the Tates. There's a reason why I care about the Tristan Andrew Tate case, and it's probably not for the reasons you think. I'd normally just let things be decided through the legal system, but that's not how the Tates are playing it. They built a narrative, and that so many people have fallen for it is an illustration of how easily so many people can be manipulated when appealing to their biases and concerns. The Tates pretend that they are being prosecuted because of their politics, and they are facing serious allegations supported by even publicly available evidence and their own confessions of wrongdoing, including human trafficking, rape, organized crime, sexual exploitation, and assault. Significantly, the victims in the UK cases had come forward before the Tates were even known. Famously, the Tates love to talk about the Matrix and how it's after them, and yet they've had the White House intervene on their behalf in the Romanian case, and now are angling for Trump's involvement in their extradition process and special treatment in prison. They aren't being hunted down by the Matrix, they are part of it. They built narratives around deep states, distrust in the system, media, government, institutions, and so every arrest, travel restriction, or charge is seen as confirmation of some conspiracy rather than a legitimate action based on collected evidence. Their supporters are part of their tribe, the red-pilled men versus the system. Doubt them, then you're dismissed as a Matrix agent. Through this lens, they aren't being seen as men who are alleged to have committed crimes and need to go through due process for themselves and for the alleged victims. They're being prosecuted for thought crimes, for having influence over young men, for being politically inconvenient. It becomes very difficult to convince their followers that any attempt at justice or due process isn't just prosecution if they see the entire system as being rigged. There are indeed legitimate issues with our systems, but the Tates manipulate these narratives to serve as their personal shield and actually diminish our ability to take seriously actual evidence-based institutions, failures, or issues. It also creates an environment within which legitimate claims by victims are dismissed. Their followers are far more interested in protecting a narrative and what they view as their in-group tribe than actually examining the facts. The damage being done by the Tates far exceeds whatever ideological views they push or the crimes they are alleged to have committed. They are sabotaging those facing real injustice, also training their audience to reject evidence and due process by default in favor of appealing narratives. And that has very far-reaching consequences for our society. And then she cites with the White House influence. I think that's just a really good post that, it's exactly how I feel. And we've spoken about this where ideally we wouldn't be covering this. We wouldn't be talking about it. Ideally we just let the criminal justice system do its thing. But in fact, it's the Tate brothers, I believe, who have done everything possible to try and prevent the justice system from actually, allowing things to take its course. And I also believe that they've been actively lying about the accusations, and they've also, I believe, been openly harassing their victims. And that is not okay. That's not okay. I see it very, very similarly to Candace Owens and what she's done after Charlie Kirk's death. With just the absolute rubbish that she pushed with Tyler Robinson, with the evidence, but also just her treatment of TPUSA and Erica Kirk, and accusing anyone that she can think of that will serve her and her agenda. That's not okay. That needs to be pushed back against. So that post says it well. And coming back to Lily and her comment, I'd love to do a stream. Maybe we'll do it next one or soon, where we can cover these influencers who've actively platformed and pushed Tate's propaganda. This is where there's nothing wrong with platforming someone. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having someone on as a guest. But what's not okay is allowing someone to just openly lie unchecked. That needs to be countered. And there's far too much of that in alternative media now. And I think we've seen the worst of it with Andrew Tate over the past few years. What gadget, who would, off the top of your head, who would you name? We got the Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, we've covered PBD. Who else off the top of your head would you name as some of the worst offenders?
Well, it's very interesting one that you mentioned before I jumped on, I heard, was Suleiman Ahmed. So he's one that I think, because things are a bit hot for him in this situation, has been very quiet. We cannot let people forget what he did. So for those that don't know, and just to reiterate, because I think you said it earlier, but he actually traveled out to Florida to get dirt on one of the alleged victims, and just was led a harassment camp. But for those that don't know, so you'll see this guy, Suleiman Ahmed, is mostly like posting about Palestine and things like that now. But before that, before October 7th, he was primarily an Andrew Tate propaganda, Andrew Tate's alleged victim harassment account. That's what he was. That's what he did. So there's definitely him. There's one who's still actually going down with the ship is Michael Franzese, the former mafia guy. Yeah. He's doubling down. He's not giving up. And the problem I have with him, so this is where for him it gets beyond some people that have just maybe naively supported the Tates, for example. There's some people that you can give a bit of that benefit of the doubt to. But someone like Michael, this is where he's malicious to me, because he has said many times that I've read the case files, I've read the court documents, and I can tell you for a fact that the judge said there was no evidence and it was a joke and there's nothing on them in Romania. Now, this is just malicious lies. So for someone with a large platform like him to maliciously lie about an ongoing case involving the trafficking and I don't want to be too graphic, but of women and children, this is sick. This is sick stuff. So he's one that definitely shouldn't live it down. Who are the other ones that really come to mind? I mean, and this is one thing too.
Hodge twins.
Yes, Hodge twins. And honestly, like, because I've had a big thing on my account. A lot of my loyal followers on my account, because I've covered the real world so much, especially, are former Tate fans who maybe saw the light and are remorseful for supporting them in the first place. And this is where, even if I don't agree with some other things that he posts or shares, this is where I'm honestly willing to give the benefit of the doubt to someone like Sneeko. He's doing the right thing now. He supported Tate before. It's maybe he was naive. Who knows? Maybe he's maybe he's doing it just because it's convenient. But until I see evidence of that, I'm like, okay, he's putting out things right now that Tate does not like. That's good.
Yeah, I disagree with Sneeko. I think it serves his agenda now.
It could be. Don't get me wrong. It could be.
And when I see him, when I see him still, like, literally, he'll condemn Tate, and he still has these just absolutely despicable characters like Stu Peters on. That to me isn't someone who has any consistent morality whatsoever.
I do not.
He had a falling out with Andrew Tate, and
I do
so
not
now
condone the Nazi stuff, to make it clear, in case anyone's wondering. I do not.
No, absolutely. And this is just my take. I'm just my take is it's the same thing as the Fuentes. I don't think Fuentes cares whether Andrew Tate human trafficked or raped women. I don't think even if he found out that Andrew Tate did, that he would then condemn him. I think for Nick Fuentes, I mean, he has so few allies at this point in time. Andrew Tate is still defending him, and they have a lot of crossover with their audience. So that's why I think it's valuable for him to defend Andrew Tate. Whereas I think Sneeko and Tate seem to have had a falling out. So I think it's personal. I don't think it's some sort of a moral awakening. That's just my take, from what I've seen. But I want to just this person, Adrian Cole, who asked with super chat. Thank you, Adrian. And he asked, what makes you think these women are not falsely accusing Andrew Tate? Since there were women out there that may want to falsely accuse wealthy men like Tate due to their own financial benefit. This is where it's important to actually point out the history of the allegations against Andrew Tate. Because this argument is the same argument that Tristan Tate made to Ed Krasenstein, where he's saying, "I'm rich. Why would I need to do this?" But for one thing, it's important to point out that women have been making allegations against Andrew Tate. They've been going to the police since 2014, 2015. So this was long before Andrew Tate was famous, or even when he had built up a significant kind of wealth. To me, one of the things that's extremely compelling is that you have women over and over and over again across multiple countries for a decade and a half who've never met and who have all given consistent statements where they've alleged that Andrew Tate has strangled, many of them been beaten and been raped. And there's a pattern of allegations made against Andrew Tate there's that through line that I think is incredibly telling. When you have at least 10 women, so just 10 women alone who have just alleged that Andrew Tate has strangled them, going from the UK, I think as far as back as 2012, I think, through to Romania, through to America, even till last year. And all of these allegations are pretty much identical. That says a lot. Now, this is just what the women allege. On top of that, the actual evidence from the Romanian indictment to what is also being used even in the UK civil case. I mean, you've got things combined with, medical reports to verified chats from the Tate brothers, to, CCTV footage, witness statements. It's a lot. Even in the Romanian indictment alone, it's a lot. And that, that's not even including Andrew Tate and himself filming himself over and over again, making statements that corroborate these exact allegations. And this also includes, even here, let me play this. So these are voice notes that Andrew Tate left and text messages to one of the alleged UK victims from, I think it was 2014 or 2015. So it goes that far back. And this is what he said. So she alleges that he raped and strangled her. And then she has these text messages and voice notes. So you can see this with one of the women who's making these allegations, and then Andrew Tate himself talking about it and texting. So, I mean, you see this for yourself. Yeah, let me play this.
Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. I loved how much you hated it. Turned me on. Why am I like that? Why?
Whilst we were having sex, he put his hand on my throat and strangled me until I lost consciousness. But he was still having sex with me when I kind of came back around again.
I am one of the most dangerous men on this planet. Sometimes you forget exactly how lucky you were to get by me. Would you rather me pin you down and make you do things you didn't like, or would you rather you didn't like that I was thinking I can do whatever I want to you? That's what it is. I'm the smartest person on this planet.
And then the next day, one of the whites of my eyes had gone completely red. Apparently, that's kind of common in domestic abuse cases where there's a lack of oxygen in your brain. So your blood vessels start bursting to kind of try and get the oxygen there.
Are you seriously so offended I strangled you a little bit? You didn't pass out.
But he kind of kept saying, I own you, you belong to me, threatening to kill me.
Chill the out. Jesus Christ. I thought you were cool. Am I?
So this is where, the point that I'm making is that this isn't just going off what women have said. It's actually corroborated by a lot of evidence. And I think we're going to see more and more of that come out, hopefully if he's extradited and then put to trial in the UK. When you see Andrew Tate himself saying these things on camera, does that mean that he's guilty? No, but that is definitely compelling, and it's compelling enough, in my mind and for a lot of other people to say, okay, well, in all likelihood, there should be enough. There's enough credibility there that this should be put to trial, on top of also the evidence that's been collected after being investigated by prosecutors. I want to Gadget. I want to throw to you for this one. Thank you, Guilty Angel. But I want to go to Noah, who says, you say the Tate brothers have been harassing their victims. Explain exactly how the Tates were harassing their victims. Generally just curious. Do you want to answer that one, Gadget?
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, the main one that comes to mind is, of course, the lawsuits in Florida. So there was initially two alleged victims. who now go by Jane and Mary Doe. So what happened? So what initially happened actually was they tried to file criminal complaints against these women for literally just providing testimony to the police and cooperating with the police. They didn't go out publicly. They haven't spoken to the news. They had nothing like that. So that those criminal complaints in Romania just obviously were thrown out because they're a joke. But then they filed lawsuits against these women in Florida, alleging that they defamed them. And they talk about the girl who started all of this. So what happened was that Tristan brought this girl out to Romania, and according to the text messages, was trying to encourage her to do OnlyFans. And she believed she was in a human trafficking ring, and that's what the Tates were doing. She communicated with her parents and was concerned. Her parents were concerned. They contacted a Marine who's a family friend. The Marine contacted the US Embassy and said, I think a woman's being held in Bucharest in a bad situation. The place was raided. They found all these other women. And then this is in April 2022. Then the investigation started. So this is not, again, not public. This is not a woman going on the news saying the Tate did this. Andrew Tate did this, this, and this, or posting on social media. She was in a private conversation with her parents, and she's being sued for defamation. If make that make sense. Their lawyer, who we've spoken about in this stream, Joseph McBride, started sharing repeatedly a court document that had basically all of her personal details, her full name, her address, her parents' address, her passport number, her phone number. And Joseph McBride shared this over and over and over and over and over on Twitter. She then started receiving lots of death threats. She started having people show up at her house. So Tate supporters started then literally harassing her in person. She had to go into hiding. In my opinion, the lawsuit itself is harassment. Tate was caught on recorded jail phone calls, according to transcripts in Romania, ordering people to basically, what's the word? I guess intimidate women into retracting their statements. They've made countless comments on their streams that, in my opinion, are trying to intimidate victims. Like, we're going to come, literally saying, we're going to come for you, we're going to put you in jail. Literally talking about the women. So, I mean, it's honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a case of this nature that's public, like that's a famous case of this nature that's involved more, in my opinion, victim intimidation than this. It's egregious. It's
so I just want to just summarize it, what you just said. So this alleged victim, who's from Florida and was flown to Romania, she felt like she was being human trafficked, and she was housed with these other girls as well, and another one as well, who felt like they were being human trafficked. She told her parents this. She said that the Tate brothers, they believe, pure evil. This is all documented in the Romanian indictment. She talks about how Tristan Tate was trying to pressure her to get into pornography. I'll skip forward, but she told her parents, and she was putting together a plan with this other girl to flee Romania and to escape. But the parents told a U.S. Marine who was a family friend. And because he was a U.S. Marine, he's bound by his duty to then inform the authorities about what was going on. So he informed Romanian authorities. This led to the raid on their compound midway through 2022. And this is what then led to them being arrested. Now, they sued this alleged victim. They sued her parents, and they sued the U.S. Marine, all for defamation. For her testifying, for her telling her parents that she believed that she was being human trafficked. Now, this has been going on for over 3 years now. Over 3 years. 3 years now. This lawsuit against this alleged victim. So she's been underground pretty much because of this. The lawsuit against the U.S. Marine was dropped. Of course, it was. But otherwise, this lawsuit's been able to carry on. And this is the thing that's important to point out as well. This idea that the alleged Tate victims are somehow doing this to, I don't know, get rich or to get famous. Where are these alleged victims? If these alleged victims exist, we know they exist because you can if you get the unredacted indictments, you can see their names. These people are very real. They're injured parties. But these are not women who have gone on Oprah or have gone on massive platforms to try and get book deals or reality TV shows off of this. These are women who, it's beyond clear that that's absolutely not the reason why they're doing this. They're doing this to try and get what they feel is justice. And the Tate brothers have, I believe, used that to their advantage, and that's why they've then spun this idea that there's no victims because you can't see them, so they mustn't exist. But the reality is that these alleged victims either have been harassed or aware of the treatment that they would get if they actually spoke out. And Matt Jury, who I played earlier, the victim for the alleged UK victims in the civil trial, he was saying on Piers Morgan about how he's been harassed. Gadget, I know that you've got death threats. I've got some death threats. So the harassment absolutely does exist, and it's very real.
Hey, Nathan, I just thought of something that I think this is an exclusive. I've never said this on my channel, but this, in my opinion, confirms some more levels of harassment. So you might recall, and some people listening might recall hearing Tate talk about how for the Real World and Hustlers University, how they'd clip up clips of Tate and spread them all over the internet. And Tate has talked about how I have a library of clips and people can search up me talking about this and they can clip up, right? I was sent that folder. I was sent that library. So, and this is going back a while now. So I had this folder that Tate's affiliates, someone just said, it's just a link anyone can open. So if you have the link, someone sent me the link. And there was a folder in there. And I can't remember exactly the name of it, but it was a folder of these women, of clips, of videos that they were provided to make posts about the victims in the case. So think about this. So for the Hustlers University students who were putting out clips of Tate to recruit and to recruit other people into Hustlers University, and there was different folders for each topic that you could do videos on, there was a folder dedicated to victims in the case that the Tate are suing in Florida. So why would that be there if they're not harassing them, if they're not directing their followers to do this? So the funny thing now, and I can say this now because the link's dead, so I don't have access to it anymore. They must have killed it and made a new one. But for my videos I was making about Andrew Tate, I had access to this folder, and if I wanted footage to show in my video critical of Tate, I could use Tate's own folder to pull up videos. It was helping me make my own videos about Tate. But yeah, so this is a new thing. I haven't shared this yet, but yeah, there was a folder literally dedicated to two women who the Tates are suing and who the Tates fans, including Suleiman Ahmed and Ryan Dawson and these people, were harassing on X relentlessly. They may have been getting these clips from that folder. So how sick is that? Think about that. Someone's charged with trafficking and in one of the women's cases, assaulting these women. They've given a folder to their fans to make clips saying they're lying and harassing them. It's sick stuff.
Well, this is also the thing is that I believe that Candace Owens was as much a part of that harassment campaign, where she literally read out the lawsuit the Tate brothers had taken out against this alleged victim. She read that out like it was evidence. Now, this would be like just solely using their lawyer and these statements here as evidence, instead of bothering to fact check and to balance it out with any other perspectives. She read that out like it was evidence. That episode, if you're aware of my account, if you're aware of my YouTube or Twitter, I continually post about this, and I continually post about Candace Owens and how she protected Keith Fox. I'm not going to go into that again, but Candace Owens dedicated an entire episode to, in my opinion, openly harassing this alleged victim that Andrew Tate was suing for defamation for testifying in Romania against him. But things got so bad that literally the alleged victims in the UK, in Romania with the prosecutor, and in America had to hold a press conference in Romania to say, this is what's going on. This is how the Tate brothers harassing our alleged victims that we represent. And this is how absurd the whole Tate circus is. What did the Tate camp do? They sent their lawyer and their PR person to go there and to make a massive scene at this press conference. So the alleged victims, their lawyers, are holding a press conference saying that the Tate brothers are harassing their alleged victims, the victims that they're representing. And then the Tate camp thinks it's a wise idea to then ambush this press conference and make a massive scene. This is what they do. And then the judge even ordered that they could no longer publish the name of the alleged victim in America. And so you saw that for a time being, and that included Candace Owens, who openly harassed and named the alleged victim. They had to stop that because the judge ordered it. That's how bad the harassment was. I'm going to start to wind up, guys. So send through any last questions you have, and then I'm gonna close this up. My guy said, do you think Andrew Tate intentionally wanted to blow up on the internet in mid-2022 because he blew up a little after April 2022 when his house was raided? Maybe he knew he was going to get arrested and he wanted to support. This is another interesting thing, is that one of their bottom bitches that worked for them was actually worked in the Romanian police force. So it was then reported that she illegally accessed the Romanian police database after they were first raided, so they could keep tabs on what was going on with the investigation. So this was the thing. You see this over and over again. He just did this again, where he had this pre-recorded interview with Jack Neal, another one clearly of this propaganda influencer network. You see this time and time again, where they're aware of what's going to happen. They have information about an upcoming arrest, upcoming hearing, something that's gonna happen. So they deliberately get ahead of the story and spin it in some way in their favor with some nonsense. So that's why you saw that. This whole narrative about the Matrix attacking them, that only started around 2022 with the raid and then the following arrest, because they were aware that was going to happen. So they get ahead of it, say the Matrix is gonna come after us because we're influencing young men, because they're fully aware there's an open investigation that could lead to an arrest. So they put that out there, and then when they're arrested, they say, "Look, see, I told you that Matrix was going to attack us." So they do that. They do that time and time again. Ethan Walker, thanks, Ethan. He asked, "Did Andrew Tate actually make millions off the webcam business? Is that how he initially became a millionaire after his kickboxing career?" Yeah, that's right. He did. Even according to Andrew Tate, how he got into the webcamming. The quick story, according to him, how he got into it was he had a massive amount of debt. It changes who it was that he owed the money to. From Gadget, you probably remember better than I, mafia figures or this or that, criminal underworld or something. He needed to make money very, very fast, so he had to quickly figure out a way how to do that. And after he did a little bit of research, he thought that webcamming was the best way to do that. So then he pulled the various girlfriends that he had, moved them to the UK, and then started the webcamming thing. And then, I mean, he himself is on countless podcasts saying that's how he made his first millions. But on top of that as well, because you should never just rely on what Andrew Tate says. On top of that as well, in Romania, it's then been, since then we've found out, allegedly, according to the Romanian prosecutors, the court documents, off that one girl alone that we've covered with that video that goes way back, the girl that he says is his first girl, Vivian, that according to him, he was with since she was 15. According to the Romanian court documents, he made over $1 million off her. So that's part of the evidence that's being used against them in Romania. This is where they say there's no evidence. In the Romanian court documents, they have a lot of evidence, including court bank transfers. Including bank transfers. They're on top of that as well. And even that, these are the things. These guys are complete just morons. The bank accounts they had was literally, it would have a bank account they had which was called like pimping. That was the name of the bank account they had. These absolute geniuses that we're talking about here. March on 2027. Thank you, March on. Hello, Nathan and Gadget. Great work. By the way, Nathan, my last name is Livingston. No E. There we go. All right. The stories that somehow along the way my family added the E. There was, I think it's always a story about like a drunk family member accidentally added on, but there we go. So we could be related. I'm really curious about the relationship between George Farmer and Andrew Tate. He told Dr. Taylor Marshall that he knew them from before. This is if there was going to be like one question that I've been most fascinated by, it would be maybe this question. So I don't have a satisfactory answer for you, but that is the major question in my mind is, what is George Farmer, this son of a lord, part of this family that's worth just like an incredible amount of wealth, who went to Oxford University and runs in these upper high society circles in the UK. I mean, what is he doing hanging out with this self-admitted pimp and drug dealer from Luton? That's a great question. The obvious dots that connect are that Andrew Tate comes from Luton. Andrew Tate is good friends with Tommy Robinson, and around this time, Tommy Robinson was politically active, and he ran in these circles that included Nigel Farage and a lot of these figures in the UK that are quite powerful and on the right, so that's how I see those dots connect. It's Andrew Tate is connected to Tommy Robinson, who's connected to these circles that I see George Farmer running in. But that is one of those $1 million questions that a lot of people would like to answer. And like you said, George Farmer himself has said he goes way back with Andrew Tate, before Andrew Tate was even Andrew Tate. And I always like to point out that Candace Owens met Andrew Tate at the Ritz Hotel in 2019 when she was first getting to know George Farmer, and her Romanian assistant that night spent a bit of time with Andrew Tate and immediately went and warned Candace Owens. This is according to Candace Owens. She said this on her show. Her Romanian assistant immediately went to Candace Owens and warned her that guy, Andrew Tate, is a pimp in Romania. So Candace Owens has known that Andrew Tate was pimping in Romania since 2019. Yet she still defended him and pushed that he was being attacked by the Matrix, and even went along and pushed his narrative that he stopped webcamming in 2013. He said that he stopped 10 years ago when she interviewed him in 2023 after he was indicted. And over again, they both pushed the line that Andrew Tate had nothing to do with webcamming 10 years ago, which would have made it 2023 that he'd stopped. Yet Candace Owens was warned that he was a pimp in Romania in 2019, 4 years before that interview. So, this says everything about Candace Owens to me. All right. Do you have any final thoughts, Gadget? I'm going to wrap this up.
Not so much. Crazy times. So I guess keep your tabs on mine and Nathan's accounts for any updates.
Yeah, do you want to plug your account, Gadget?
Yeah, sure. Well, you can follow me on YouTube and X on Gadget440. So and you can find my other socials from there. So that's where I'm most active, on YouTube and on X. And they're supposed to be hearing. So Monday US time. So that'll be tonight, overnight our time, I guess. They'll probably be hearing. I don't think it's supposed to be so what's the word, eventful, I don't think, but we'll see what happens with there. They might even just set a date for the bond, for official bond hearing, I think, is what might happen. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and just before I go, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Thank you very much, Guilty Angel. Very generous. Thank you, everyone, to all the super chats and gifts. It means so much, guys. And I just want to again plug the fundraiser. So a reminder again, Gadget and I and several others who've been covering the Tate brothers' ongoing criminal cases for years now, that the Tate brothers are suing us with this frivolous defamation lawsuit. So we're trying to, we need to raise, we're at 61,901. We need to get to 70,000 to cover our legal costs that we're owed. So we're going to have to up that eventually, but we're trying to get up to there so then we're covered. But we've got a hearing on September 18th. So we've been waiting to get this hearing date. So we finally got it for September 18th. And so we're hoping for that hearing that we'll finally get this thing dismissed for good. But I'll do another video covering that because we just found out about that. And I'll keep all of you updated. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, thank you everyone who's tuned in. Thank you for the support. I'm really enjoying these live streams. You know, it's great to get to know all of you a lot more. I'm so incredibly grateful for this support and just seeing this like community start to build on YouTube. It's really great. I love it. So I'm enjoying these streams. This is only the second one so far, but it's gonna be ongoing. Hopefully, I'm still trying to figure out a time. This time seems to work well for me, and I think it works fairly well for people in America, where I think the two largest audience bases are. But you know, I'd love to get some feedback. So maybe I'll do a post, or you can comment under my post on YouTube, my last one. Give me some feedback in terms of, I don't know, time zones, if this works. But also, I'd love to get more guests on. So if you've got ideas for guests, then drop it there. Otherwise, you can contact me at themilkbartv@gmail.com. So any tips or anything like that, you can contact me there. Yeah, otherwise, thank you everyone who's tuned in, everyone for the super chats and the gifts. It means a lot. This has been great. And I'll do, if I'll do another one, probably I'll aim for this time next week. But I also might do a like emergency one as well if there's an update with the Tates. So keep an eye on that. But otherwise, thanks to Gadget for joining. Thanks to Just Me as well for dropping by. If you missed that, I encourage you to go back. Just Me was on earlier. So she was talking about a bit about her experiences. She's a victim of one of Tate's I believe I gotta be careful getting sued. So I believe one of Tate's war room members. So she was a victim. So that's how she connects to the Tate brothers and covering them. And she's also being sued. But yeah, so go back and listen to that if you missed that. But yeah, so thanks Gadget and Just Me for joining. But otherwise, cheers guys. I'll see you all soon.
I'm right here in Miami. I'm right here in Miami. Come get me, arrest me, perp walk me, put me on the news, tell everyone I'm a human trafficker. You think I'm not versed? You think I'm not ready? I'm a Navy SEAL in this shit. Come get me, raid my house, take my stuff. You think I sleep with a full phone full of evidence? You think I don't wipe my phone every night? You think I'm dumb? Come get me, arrest me.
Breaking, Andrew and Tristan Tate have been arrested in Miami.